steel, a giant stands, a mech with heavy pants commands, each step a quake, a thunderous might, eyes aglow in the endless night. A taint beneath, dark and vast, power fierce, shadows cast, a mighty taint beneath its core, a warrior spirit, ancient lore. Welcome tainted, a lace-up tunic or medieval hoodie. Welcome tainted, let's talk about color, or should we? Welcome tainted, thinking outside the blocks. Welcome tainted, thanks for joining us, you rock. Have your fun hole rocks. Welcome tainted. Enjoy the Chronicles of Dark Song. Welcome tainted. Thinking outside the blocks. Welcome tainted. Thanks for joining us, you rock.
Okay, welcome everybody to your Brickworld weekly live stream. Unless, of course, we're actually at Brickworld Chicago. We like to call it Think Outside the Blocks, where we talk about thinking outside the rigid medium of Lego, but also thinking outside of your mental blocks as we talk about what we build and how we build and what's going on at Brickworld. I am one of your hosts. You'll see I'm a little askew today so we could get some of the Brickworld branding in. The guy on the left, Z Cerberus, Ben Hauger, Mark will be along shortly, so don't jump out now in fear that our favorite host isn't here yet. He had a dinner event over at his sister's house, so he is very briefly going to be finishing that up before he is able to join the show today. So while we're waiting for Mark, let's see who's here. VMAC Attack gives us a good evening. VMAC Attack at Brickworld. Hopefully I won't miss anyone when I say at Brickworld or not at Brickworld, because I talked to a lot of you. Philip Camus at Brickworld. Get Cooped at Brickworld. ACOB at Brickworld. Brick Dead Builds at Brickworld, asking how everyone is post 1 week post convention. Friday Night Bricks, aka Reed at Brickworld. Nate Boverhoff, looking forward to Brickworld Grand Rapids. I got both trains from Back to the Future Part 3 mocks, a massive SpongeBob mock, and tokens for builders. Nate, I don't recall if I met you, but I might have. Brad Claxton at Brickworld, I met you. Amy Schultz, congrats, Ben. Well-deserved wins and recognition. Oh, we'll get to that, I'm sure, eventually. But thank you, Amy. Amy at Brickworld. Philip Camus at Brickworld. D Bishop, the Bishop family at Brickworld. I met both D and James. Rob Claxton at Brickworld. Rich, I did see Rich very briefly. He is here as well. Don't worry, Rich. We will definitely have some lifestyle shots to make fun of tonight. So Rich at Brickworld. Brickbuilt Labs, good evening. Brickbuilt, did I see you at Brickworld? I might have. Papa Trip here. Good evening, Brickworld and friends. Mark, thank you so much for putting on such a spectacular event for us all. Papa Trip at Brickworld, what do you know? Zisu, here, let's see here, Bonk Nickeltune, that's a fun name, says congrats to me, thank you. And Jazzy Viking Bricks here as well. And we have a lot of people saying hello to one another as well. So we were off last Sunday night because we were doing the closing ceremonies for Brickworld, and then after the closing ceremonies we went on to what we always like to do, which is get a little downtime in before we get back to all the craziness that is Brickworld. So Brickbuilt Lab says, I was at Brickworld, didn't run into you, saw your displays, left a token. Thank you very much. So one of the things that I normally do post Brickworld I usually get some time in with my family because that's always important. Obviously, my kids and my wife come with me. They're, of course, a great support. We have a lot of fun when we're there as well. But we almost always have some time to go swimming. That's kind of one of the things we make time for. And then, kind of the last couple of years, the other thing that we typically do is my family has dinner with the Stratsmas. So Philip and Maria, friends of the show on Lego Masters. We've got sons who are about the same age, so we usually have dinner with them. We went to a restaurant that was literally closing when we walked in the door, but they let us order food anyway. And then we got to take some downtime, went swimming, and then we were off into the lobby where I think the kind of the official end of Brickworld is sort of the lobby party that everyone comes to. It's not really, an exclusive event, but it's usually the time that I get to talk to Mark the most during the show. Because when, the show's going, we always have, or Mike always has something he needs to run off and do. Sometimes I do as well. So lots of fun stuff happening at Brickworld this year. And that's, I think, where we're going to start with the run of show. So let's pull it up. Today's show brought to you by M. So what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about moments. So what are some of our favorite Brickworld moments? And we're going to talk about making community and themes. Mark and I already got a little jump start on this on Mark's Wednesday night stream. But one of the things we want to talk about is Brickworld has a theme, and it's not always easy to come up with. And so kind of like Mark would like to get some ideas on what maybe people like. Mocks question mark. Do we have any mocks already? It's only 1 week after Brickworld. Are we already planning for 2026? I have one mock that I will show because we didn't show it on stream, and that would be the dragon question mark. One of the builds that I brought to 2025, as well as we'll take a look at, I've got a large hexagon here. And so we'll take a look at some of the techniques used to build the hexagon, since a lot of people asked about that. Then we're going to talk about some Lego news. There's more than just this piece, because some of you may also know we talked about and revealed Bricklink Series 8 at Brickworld. So the Mustang isn't the only bit of news, but it is the only official Lego set outside of the gift with purchase that has really been announced in the last couple weeks. But we'll take a look at the Bricklink sets as well, because there are some in there that are absolute beauties. In fact, I think all of them are pretty good. So we'll see how that goes. Then we'll talk my favorite. Instead of close calls, we will, of course, go over some of our favorite mocks at Brickworld. One of the problems I have is I don't always do the best job of getting out on the floor and taking pictures. I did a little better this year than normal, but the other issue I have is I have an iPhone and a PC. They do not play well together. It is a pain in the butt, an absolute pain in the butt, to get pictures transferred from my phone to the computer, mostly because I have to email them to myself, for example. I know you can, in theory, plug your phone into the PC and be able to, look at the pictures, find them. It never works that easily. It's like this evil thing that Apple and Microsoft are doing to fight each other. So I'll have to email some to myself. I tried earlier and the pictures are too small. I have a limited size that I can do. Mark, on the other hand, he's got both a Mac and an iPhone. He also had media people running around Brickworld taking pictures. So hopefully he has some more images. But we'll definitely talk about some of our favorite builds that were at Brickworld. And then last but not least, more Think Outside the Blocks. We'll be back again next week to do it all again. We'll be back onto the 2026 schedule. So let's see here. Before we get to some of our favorite memories, let's see who else joined while we were getting our intro done there. We have Durs Brick. That there looks like the vault for the Fallout collab that was at Brickworld. So I believe this is a Twin Lug member saying hi to everyone. Art Bricks says, congrats, Ben. Found out those orange spaceships from years ago were yours. Some of my all-time Brickworld favorites. Well, thank you, Art Bricks. Phil Kama says there's only 360 days until the next Brickworld. Apparently, we're already on the countdown for that here. Let's see. Nate says, I would have met you if you were in the Grand Rapids Brickworld. Yeah, that's the one that I don't make it to. In fact, Chicago, and when we did Milwaukee, those were the two that I could make it to. Basically, anything that goes past Chicago or around Lake Michigan ends up being a very long drive. Chicago is about 6-ish hours drive from where I am. So I can make it to Holiday Joy sometimes, unless we have other events. I can make it to Chicago, but that's about it. Joellen still exhausted. It was good to see you there, Joellen. VMAC throwing up what his favorite moment was by far, and that was World of Lights. So, of course, World of Lights is always a great event. Saturday night, we turn off the lights and see all the mocks that people light up. And we definitely had a pretty good showing this year for World of Lights. One of the better ones. Really fun moment that I had was I brought the Ice Planet PC. And so we were playing during a World of Lights. I had Mark had run a stream where he said, I need some Think Outside the Box songs. And he played some songs on that, as well as a couple of our gag bits, including the Star Wars villains that end in Ock. And so we had a member of our Eurobricks team come from England. And because over in the UK, this show was on at a rather late time, she had never caught the show live. So because of that, she got to experience some of our silliness for the first time. And while I've finally stopped laughing at Star Wars villains that end in Ock, watching her watch it and laugh was like me watching it for the first time again. It was great. I laughed hysterically at my own self while I was watching it, just because I love, more than anything, I love Mark's lines during that. They always make me chuckle. There's Brick says, we could start Brickworld Minneapolis, just saying, oh, if only. I've suggested this a few times to my friend Mark, but of course, there's a lot that goes into that. So there he is. Look at this.
Hey, look at me.
Here's our guy.
Look, I'm here.
Let's see here. How's it going, Mark?
Decent. I'm very. Oh, look, I'm in dog park uniform, Mark, tonight.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You are.
Yeah, it's been probably one of the most difficult days to get here on time since we've started the stream. So here we are, a little exhausted because I was out in the sun all day. Just ate for the first time as well. So yeah, I'm good. Mm-hmm. I'm good. I had a very relaxing week. How are you?
Well, let's. I'm going to run through the rest of these comments, and then we'll get to that because I've had a busy week.
Cool. Yeah.
Lots of M's. That's our letter of the week to go through as well.
Yeah.
Stud City gives us a Brick World.
Yep.
Mayo Hasko is here.
What's up, Stud? What's up, Mayo?
Contra Bricks Build Craze says hi, yeah, guys and girls.
Yeah. Contra Bricks Build
Friday
Craze.
Night Bricks. Yeah, Friday Night Bricks is agreeing with me that Apple just has too many folders for the photos, and it's just too difficult for me to share them across from one to the other.
Yeah, I'll be going from. I'm going to open up all my photos in Photoshop tonight when we go over the stuff that inspired us, the stuff that we liked.
Yeah. Ron Smith gives us a hi. Hi, Ron.
What's up, Ron Smith?
Al Goff is here. Let's see here. Brick Dead Builds, I already said hello to, but Ben, send me link. You want a link to join the show now, or are you just going to help me cover until poor old Mark got here?
I'm here.
You can do either. You can always join us if you want to, Brick Dad.
Absolutely.
Let's see. My favorite Brick World of the 2020s for sure, says Life Bricks. So that's exciting. And let's see here. Lots of people saying hi to each other. Here it is. The man, the legend. We forgot the myth. Hello to Mark.
Oh, we don't need to feed my ego any more than that. That's I'm good. But yeah, thanks. Yeah. Good to see you too, Bishop family. Papa Tripp's here. I got to meet Papa Tripp in person.
Yeah, I'm terrified to say I did go with, if I knew they were at Brickworld, they came up and talked to me, of course, at Brickworld. That was a lot of the tainted. There are some people that, of course, are in the stream that could not make it to Brickworld, which, of course, is great. And some people whose screen names I just simply don't know. So I may have met you. Hard to say. But if I didn't, please come to Brickworld. It was a great time this year for sure. So since Brickworld, what's happened around here in the M space? Last night, my daughter Mara made us dinner. And she did that because she is off to, as of today, her first ever overnight camp.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so she's doing overnight camp at Luther Park. So she'll be doing that this week. It's only half a week, but it's a big step. We haven't had any of our kids do overnight camp before. So that will be really interesting. So she made us spaghetti and meatballs yesterday. And we played some family game night stuff. And then today, even though it was hot outside, much like Mark, I went outside. I was at the Minnesota versus Milwaukee Brewers game. Even though it was 90 something degrees, our seats were in the shade and there was a breeze, so we managed. But that was what I did this week. Mark, I know you were at a family event, so what else have you been doing since we last saw each other all of Wednesday night?
Right. So Brick Sergeant says hello to all. It was my first time at Brickworld Chicago this year. Outstanding getting to enjoy it all. Welcome to the stream as well tonight, Brick Sergeant. Might be a little bit lower energy than we normally are because of the first week after Brickworld Chicago is always kind of a recovery of sorts for my body and my brain. It takes a lot to run that show. And as Brick Dad Builds posted on our Discord channel, it's always kind of a you got to get the Brickworld blues afterwards as well. Just kind of a just the fall after the high can be jarring sometimes after having such a great time, then coming back and going back to the real world and dealing with the financial impact of some of the extra spending you might have done XYZ. But we've got the Brickworld community going year round here on this. Jazzy Viking Bricks is going to be there next year. Amy Schultz is excited for Mara for being so grown up. Let's see, Twins and Brewers, Cubs fans to defend first in NL Central. If you're a Cubs fan, if you got that. Let's see, I don't know what Idlo. Okay,
not sure.
Sorry, I was at medieval times, says Girl Bricks a lot. It's quite all right. I've got the video. I'll post it. Girl Bricks a lot has been on the show before on our Lego Crimes episodes, which we're going to do hopefully in a couple weeks, 2 weeks from tonight. And she's also done a keynote before, so I'd like her to take a look at it and give me some feedback because it was my first keynote. It's the first. We took a year off of doing the keynote, and I decided I wanted to add it back in and kind of change the way we do opening ceremonies. And we'll probably have a little bit more of a change next year as well. So only time will tell how all this is going to go together. But yeah, today I was at my sister's house for her birthday. It's always, she likes to have the entire family over on her actual birthday. And we hang out in the pool all day, 96 degrees. So we lost Matt husband. He got a pretty bad heat migraine and he's still trying to recover from that right now. The dog didn't really want to play. So she's kind of like antsy right now. She was inside most of the time, which is good because she shouldn't have been outside for too long. She tried to jump in the pool with us several times and they don't really want her in there because they don't want her nails ripping up the liner. But yeah, so I mean, that's about it.
Yeah.
That's not exciting Brickworld news. Did a lot more Brickworld work this week than I did last year, the week after the show. I'm just in a much better state of having support from a larger staff, much better mental state, I think, at this point as well. And it's just that the more we do it, the smoother it gets for us. So I was actually able to do quite a bit of work this week. Yesterday and today, I kind of crashed out, though.
Well,
I think yesterday I was going to work on some live stream stuff and I pretty much got the thumbnail done. And that was about all the work I did all day. I was trying to write a new song for this week. I did not get it done, but I think that's mostly because Udio is not as easy to work with as it used to be. Our garage band, for those of you who don't know, Udio.com is our garage band. So let's see real quick. Oh, and next year, my sister's birthday falls the day after Brickworld closes. Ooh. So
is that better or worse?
It'll be very hard to make it to pool day because that's the day I unload the truck and I'm exhausted. I passed out I ordered dinner on Sunday night and then laid down on the couch while it was on its way. And I woke up at midnight and I said, "Oh no, I forgot to order the food." And Matt's like, "No, you ordered the food. I ate. I couldn't wake you up." So your food's in the refrigerator. And I just went right back to sleep. So he's coming in to join. Cool. I sent you the link on Discord. Yeah, definitely catching up on sleep. Did a lot of that this week. Girl Bricks is doing case studies for crimes. Hawkeye Lego Man is here. Alex Neer, our graphic designer. Philip Kamen says, Mark, your keynote was excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Papa Trip says, I was at medieval times.
Right, exactly. Papa Trip says, if health allows, Mrs. Papa Trip and I will be there at Brickworld 26 with all the kids. That'll be awesome. I know, yeah, they had a rough day. Orion's basically just like, take me to the park, but neither one of us can right now. Mayo Haskell says, I'm catching up on sleep too. I don't know if I should fall asleep right now or not. And telling the truth about catching up on sleep. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like the first year we did it, 2022, where it was the first time I was able to run Brickworld, and it had been, we hadn't run it for 2 years, and even I had the Bonahooms as consultants still, and there was a bunch of stuff that they just completely forgot. Klein Brick says, I have been enjoying watching all the videos from Brickworld Chicago. Me too. Durs Bricks and all the live stream recaps. I've been consistently waking up late this week. Yeah, right. Definitely. Medieval times look lit, Nicole. Well, apparently it was not. Their night lost. Nate Dog Hobby says hello. Good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us. Miss Dawn is here. Thank you for joining us tonight, Dawn. Durs Bricks also says, I've already overbooked my headspace with Brickworld 2026 ideas. Yeah, so we're doing a collaborative again. Ben and I collaborating together. We're doing a Eurobricks collaborative again. Feet are still recovering. I get that. And we're gonna offer a tainted collaborative tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Real quick before we bring in our guest host, Brick Dad Builds, just slunk in from the chat. I do want to say, Ben, that you're getting your hashtag one more week this year because the weeks have now recycled. So we closed on the 15th, and next year the show doesn't even start until the 17th. So you have an extra week. So utilize it as soon as you can, because that's not going to happen again for another 7 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It gets earlier and earlier because we're always that same weekend, but it always starts on the Wednesday. So Girl Bricks a lot says, not as lit as Mark's speech, apparently. Maybe. I don't know. I wasn't at medieval times. I can't compare the two. So let's see here. All right, you guys know this guy. You probably saw him this weekend. He was definitely around. He was definitely helpful. He was definitely everyone's emotional support. AFOL. Let me see if I can find his walk up, and we will bring in one Mr. Brick Dad Builds.
In the corner of the room, there's a world made of bricks. Brick Dad's in his zone, working his magic with flicks. Late nights glow with colors, each piece tells a tale. Building dreams for his kids, every block a trail. Every click brings a vision, his heart starts to soar. Creating joy in a castle, can't help but adore. Brick Dad building up dreams, one piece at a time. With every block placed down, it's like writing a rhyme. Creating memories that shine brighter than gold. In a world made of Lego, the stories unfold.
Oh, that song's real quick. Hi.
Hello. How are you guys?
Doing great, Brick Dad. How about you? How was your week?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. Yeah. So I've actually had a really good week. I haven't hit the downside like most people do, so it's been pretty good. I've stayed in contact, trying to do follow-ups with people after the show, of reaching out and checking in, seeing how everybody's doing and what they're up to now. And the show goes so fast, you get lost in everything that's going on, and remembering what conversation you had with who to follow up on those types of things. So, but yeah, so.
Yeah, I love Friday evening. I asked the staff, I'm like, okay, what's next? And they're just like, well, let's start setting up for the garage sale. And I was like, the garage sale? It's like, okay, what day is it?
For sure.
Yeah. Durst Brick, I think you need to understand this year.
Yeah,
it's still Father's Day weekend, but it happens to be a week later.
Yeah, so Father's Day weekend is always the third weekend in June or second or whatever. So it always like kicks out a week every 7 years, and then it'll start on the 17th this year. Next year, 2027, the 16th, 2028, the 15th. There's a leap year in there somewhere. But this is our longest time between Brick Worlds is this year. You'll get more than 365 days to prepare all your mocks. And save up money for your hotel and your food and your travel.
Yeah. So on our on our run of show, number one, we're talking Brickworld moments. And I feel like I'm trying to avoid this, but let's just peel off the Band-Aid. Because I'm sure people want to talk about it. I've already got some congratulations.
Yeah, let's do it. Yes.
Monumental. M for monumental.
Our newest Brickworld master, Mr. Ben Hauger himself.
Congratulations, Ben.
Thank
well
you.
deserved.
Like this is the issue, right? I'm glad I won for one reason above all others, which is I don't have to get nominated again. Because like personality wise, it's really hard for me to express any good feelings about it. It's just like I said when I went up and talked about it, like you get imposter syndrome right away. Like, did I deserve this? Why did people vote for me? There are so many other great builders out there who've never won or never been nominated, or even the people who I was, this year that were nominated. I'm friends with two of them. I'm very close to three of them. As two of them, I should say, because one of them's a couple. So there's two there, plus another. And I know some of the other builders too. I know people who have never won. And so it is really a struggle to just feel like you deserve it, right? So that's always something that I think I'll just have to move on from and just do my best to power through saying thank you to everybody. Because it's not that I don't want to say thank you to you. It's just like the imposter syndrome is real for me. For sure.
Now, real quick, Ben, I have a question for you. The timeline on that dragon build that you didn't share with anybody, and that was one of the nominations that you had as well, was the dragon.
One of the wins. One of the wins. He won for best creature.
That was the win. Okay. Well, see,
right.
How quick you built that and the detail and the quality of that build was phenomenal. So, don't by any means consider yourself that imposter syndrome. So,
that's it's like so hard for me to take that. And it's just like personality wise, like I really struggle with that. So I want to say thank you to everybody because it was exciting for me. Of course, you never do it alone. Like my wife does a great job of supporting me. Everyone on the stream does a great job of supporting me. I feel like I talked to a lot more people this year than any other year.
You sure did.
And part of that is, being on the stream. I talk about it a lot more people I think feel comfortable talking to me and I feel comfortable talking to them. So all that stuff is helpful as well. I usually don't display or stack up awards. I know there was one time last year where we stacked a bunch of them up because somebody had asked, like, how many did we have? How many did Mark have? How many did I have? I usually don't put them on stream, but I kind of felt like, we'd be ignoring an important thing if we didn't bring it up at least.
100%. And that's kind of the thing is like, there such importance is, such weight is attached to the awards. And we try to be very gentle about that. We try to be very transparent and fair. A lot of thought goes into the process. A lot of thought goes into the categories. How many categories are there that are representing the work that's brought? And that discussion is had every year by a committee of people who take it very seriously. The awards coordinators are some of the hardest working coordinators that we have. They're out there all night because they discuss Friday night well into the early hours of the morning who to nominate with their judges. So each coordinator is basically a head judge with 3 judges working under them. They talk about their categories. It used to be one person who would get a bunch of volunteers to go through. They'd give them the sheet of nominations, and you have to write down 5 nominees for each category, every category. And there's over 30 categories. And so a lot of people who were volunteering to help the one awards coordinator we had were spending basically almost their entire week. And by the time all the nominations were in, and the awards coordinator would just collate the votes and be like, whoever got the highest, and then talk to people if there were ties for like, 5th or whatever. And like, so we really put a lot of thought and energy into it. And we're trying to be as fair as possible and transparent as possible, like I said. But the thing has been about like, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to have some pride in the awards that you won because people find them so important and because people want them. And so
I don't want to diminish them. It's just like
exactly.
it's embarrassing for me to because of my introvertedness, and it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard because on the stream I don't come off that way, right? At
Right.
all. But it's
Right.
bad for me.
It's a character you play on TV.
Exactly. Yes. And
He's a
when I
dude
know
playing
you
another
personally,
Yeah.
yeah, when I know you personally, it's less awkward and like, you know, I can get it out. But you know, anyone who heard me try to talk about it, you know, in the moment when Mark handed me the mic, like it was hard. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't want to diminish winning them. It's very exciting. But then as soon as it becomes, you know, about me in some capacity, I get embarrassed and don't want to talk about it anymore.
It's
So
great.
aspects to it. One, being a winner,
So-
and being an introvert, and then one being in front of everybody with a microphone.
Yeah.
So, the pressure of I need to say something and just, show some gratitude. And it's like, I don't want to say anything because I'm embarrassed because, that imposter syndrome that you talk about. And
100%. That's what it is.
yeah. So, but
100%.
you did wonderful. You stepped up there. You said thank you, as graciously
Did my
as
best.
anyone ever could to accept that award.
Did my
So you did
best.
well.
And
Yeah,
there was this great moment after your speech where it just kept looking like you had something else to say, and like wasn't sure I was going to get the mic back. I was looking at you kind of like, I could see the gears turning. And it looked like you were thinking of something. Perhaps
it was probably more like, did I say everything I meant to say or was supposed to say? You know.
Well, and we got plenty of people here in the chat who disagree with your feelings of imposter syndrome. The Bishop family says, the best choice. Dursbrick says, well deserved. So happy for you. Ron Smith says, well deserved, Ben. Your builds are amazing. Amy Schultz says, you deserve it. You're an amazing and great mock builder. I understand shy though. Friday Night Brick says, my favorite troll won Brickworld Master. Jesse Viking Brick says, we do grant you the rank of master.
Well,
so Al Goff, you don't necessarily win for a build. The Brickworld Master is a person's body of work, how they connect with the community, and their growth and outreach over the years as an AFOL, as well as a builder who's diving into new techniques, different themes, as kind of a prolific body of work.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy one to nominate for. It's certainly not an easy one to vote for. The Bishop family also says, it is all part of Brickworld being able to step out of your comfort zone. Oh my God, I'm so tired. My eyes just went blurry. I couldn't read it at first. Wow, I haven't been this tired in a long time. Lou is here. He says, good evening, my friend. So sorry that I'm late to the stream. You guys, do we forgive this guy for being late?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
funny enough.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's Lou who runs our improv show at
the
Illegal Building Techniques at Brickworld.
And Lou, a full-time attendee this year. I got to spend some time with Lou. He and my daughter made fun of how old I was, or more like maybe it was probably my daughter made fun of how old I was, and Lou just encouraged it. But so just for the sake of full knowledge, so since you asked Al, best medieval build this year, and what I can tell you about best medieval, if you want to win this award, don't build a castle. That's the key. build something castle adjacent, and then best creature for the dragon. And we'll talk about the dragon here in the mock segment. And then we had a little one for best small group or medium group display for the Eurobricks collab of collabs. So I got a little stack this year.
A very meta collab we did this year.
It was very meta, yeah, but it was fun.
Clever Pig is here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Lego Timmy is also here. Thanks for joining us.
Okay, so that's out of the way. Let's talk about some of the other great stuff at Brickworld. Speaking of the comedy show, My Daughter Mara got up on stage. They did Dr. Know-It-All, where they get a line of improvists up there standing shoulder to shoulder, and you ask a Dr. Know-It-All a question, and they have to answer one person with one word at a time. So if they say, how old is Mark? The first person would say I, and the next person would say think, the next person would say Mark, so on and so forth until they get an answer.
Yeah. So
my daughter was up there doing that. She did a great job. She was hilarious, of course. And our friend Phil Stratsma was a full-time participant, a full improvist.
Sure was.
Improvist in training, the IT man up there, which was super fun as well. Who says she killed it? Yes, she did. Yep.
he brought my mom up on stage.
He did.
And he was the game was they had to have a conversation, but they could only use texts from the person's phone. And so he opened up my mom's phone and opened up the text of my niece talking about surprising my sister at Brickworld because she lives in Montreal, but she was in town for her birthday. And the plan was to meet my sister just go up to the box office and surprise her. I could tell by the text he was reading that it was my niece asking my mom if she should go to the box office to surprise my sister. And so they're trying to get me to come to the box office on Sunday morning. I'm like, I already know. And I'm busy. But my mom was in the improv show. Mara was in the improv show. I was in the improv show.
Improv show, yep. Lou
I was in the back. Lou actually yelled at me to shut up and sit down. So
nice. Lou was the first person I saw after you announced Brickworld Master because he happened to be sitting across the aisle from me.
Nice.
So that was kind of random. What ended up happening is I was sitting on the end of an aisle, but there was someone who was in a wheelchair in front of me. So they were blocking the aisle, and that's fine, right? Like, I'm not going to push the wheelchair down the aisle with me. So I had to cross an entire aisle, and Lou is at the very end of it. So it's the first person I walked past to go up there.
I'm glad you said that because I was wondering where you were going. I'm like, where is he going? Like, come here.
He's taking the long way.
A long way around. Yeah. So that, of course, added to the awkwardness because people are like giving me high fives. I'm like, should I high five you? Shake your hand? I don't know what's going on here.
And people were standing as well. It's always nice to get a standing ovation for Brickworld Master. And the way that you went, I didn't know there was an aisle there because I hadn't seen the configuration of that side of the room. So I was just like, is he just cutting down a row? Like, yeah, fun times.
Yeah.
Bethany Wright said
suggests
he was going to medieval times.
Yeah. And I saw Bethany after the show. Her daughter was in the improv show as well.
Oh, that's right.
And she killed it. She was
very funny. Very confident with the microphone. When Lou asked me to be part of the show, I was like, I can't improvise. It's like I used to be an actor. Improvising, I just completely freeze. And like I'm actually bad at it. I even did sketch comedy and I could play well within a structure, but if I don't have a structure, I can't do what I'm supposed to do. No, I try too hard. Oh, it's awful.
I kind of felt like when Bethany's daughter was up there, I felt a little bit like she probably was into acting in some degree, but when I talked to her after the show closed, she was like, no, I have some friends who are into it, and maybe just some of it rubbed off on me. I was like, wow, it's very impressive for someone with like no acting experience as well. Yeah. So who says he was just there as my emotional support human? Well, thank you. So that was really cool. Any other moments, Mark, from the weekend that really stood out besides the builds and everything else?
I would say this year's the first time since I owned the company that I was able to like socialize. And so I was out there a lot more than I had been. I think one of my favorite parts was Brick Dad Builds just showing up with the cart and like, we're going to your room, we're getting your display, otherwise it's never coming down here. Was that Thursday or Friday? That was Thursday after keynote. Yeah. They're like, all right, I'm ready. Yeah. We're going. And I was like, okay. And it was awesome. It's like we're just chilling in the elevator talking, and Brick Dad kept leaning on the buttons. And somehow
in the elevator, all the buttons light up and oh my god! Yeah, Mark's looking like, what's going on? And I'm like,
I'm like, hour 3, 5, 7, and 9 all pressed. And so it just so happened that we were like, every floor we stopped on was one that was being refurbished. So it looks like what they did was like, because there's 3 columns of buttons, they went by columns of buttons because the one that had lead on, every one of them had like caution tape in front of them, like, don't get out of the elevator. Yeah.
Yeah.
There was like one floor they actually had like an entire sheet of plywood up against the door, so you couldn't physically step out of the elevator. And it was like the walls were tore up and stuff. It was major construction zone. It felt like being in one of Mark's builds. It was crazy.
Okay, Lego Man says you finished your display too. I have a correction on this one. There's the word in there that's wrong is you finished your display. No, I did not. My group finished my display. They're like, finished. Hey, we can see where this needs to go, and we'll go through some pictures of mine so I could show you guys the silly things that didn't get finished. I was looking through pictures of them to make tonight's thumbnail, and I was like, oh my god, this one side of it is completely untiled. So Don says that night school was an awesome line. Night school.
That was from Bethany's daughter.
Oh, yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
One of
That
her
was
scenes.
that was so clever. That's right. I remember that.
Yeah, Lewis
Was it
playing a
night
horse.
school?
Yes, Lewis playing a horse, and he
I think
was
she even made. I think she took
her
Lou
noble
off guard with
steed.
that too.
She got him good, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was saying that he had just returned from schooling, and she asked him if it was night school.
That's hilarious. Brickbuilt Lab says, I walked past your display and saw like 4 people working on it. Yeah, that would have been Gary, Tim, Crystal, and Ben.
And Tim.
Well, it's very possible it might have been
sometimes
Mark
me a little bit
in disguise working on it.
That Sox jersey really fooled people this year. Let me tell you that. Without the glasses, people were like, he's not trying too hard to pretend he's not him. But yeah, like you can see as well on the time lapse that I posted. It's every night at like 11 p.m. we hang out at Eurobricks. Like you could see the activity. That's like that's when Mark was on the floor. These times from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. every night.
Yep. And to be fair, I didn't like create anything for your build. I just put stuff down where you told me to put it down, and that was kind of the case with everybody. You're like, here are the parts for the tree, put them on the tree.
Yeah.
Here's the parts for the water, put them on the water.
Apparently Alex got kicked out because I know at one point I was just like, yeah, can you just tile this? I think something happened right after that. I saw that he started. So Alex was also helping. Mark and jeans, a vest and tie. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to go to the film festival, which by the time I got there, the room was full. Because it was like everything was kind of split in half. Like you can go to the first hour of the the first hour of the auction, and then the second hour of the comedy show, and then the second hour of the film festival. So we'll work on that next year because a lot of people kind of wanted to do one or more of those things. So we can definitely work on that. But I was standing in the doorway, and as more people were coming in to try to watch the films, they started standing in front of people who were also trying to see. So I left just to make room for people because that was packed. It was the first red carpet event for the film festival. Something Dawn said reminded me of something else. I don't know, something about people being great and stuff. Yeah. Oh no, it was Alex said something about my display being done. That was kind of the thing, is like my group is always there for me. When I was Brickworld Master, they built all my Gujiks for me. I'm like, I'll have time. They're like, no, you won't give them to us. And so I remember, like, I was like filming them. I have video of it still, of you guys building my Gujiks. And of course it was Crystal. It was just like, can I just take this from you? And I was like, yes, you can. That'll make things a lot easier for me. And that was before no, that wasn't before I owned the company. Oh, yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was before I owned it. It was when I was still just doing mock art and other things, when I was training to run the show.
You were in training.
Oh yeah. Marketing director, I think, is what my official title was, or whatever. Anyway, I think a lot of things seemed really calm this year as well. Just like people getting along. We had a couple of controversies. We're always going to. Those kind of led their way in mostly afterwards. People mostly focusing on the positive, and it was just kind of always easy to find a good hangout and a good group of people having a great time. There was an impromptu garage sale that happened Thursday night in the lobby, and it didn't get out of hand. I was up there at 1 a.m. There was just a ton of Brickworld attendees, like trading and buying sets, and I was like, I don't have jurisdiction over the lobby, so I can't tell them no. Not that I would have. I can't tell them to be quiet. I'm like, and if someone calls hotel security, I'll hear about it, I'm sure, but I can't really. I don't even want to stop this from happening, because it was just so nice to see organic things.
Everybody was just so hanging out and like, hey, what do you think? You want this or you don't want it? No, okay, cool, no problem. So what have you been up to? that's how the conversations were going and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
And like for me personally, like the time that I can actually be calm and like visit with people and like catch up is Sunday night. And we happened to be on the other side of the escalator, and I sat on a couch facing away from like that main aisle. And so Phoebe, our staff member who's pregnant, she wanted to go to bed and she wanted to have a quick talk. So I walked up to her room with her, and that was the one time where I got like a barrage of people like wanting to talk to me. I was like, she's pregnant, she takes priority, I'm going to go walk and talk with her. And I went directly back to the couch facing the other way. So it was a real nice time to just like have a group around me that I wanted to be with. Not that I wouldn't want to be with anybody, but like there's certain people that like I want to catch up with and don't really have time to during the week. So it was a great group. Our group got together and came up with a new collaborative, and that's always been my favorite part of Brickworld in the past, is like coming up with the new ideas and starting to talk about things. It's okay. I have instructions for you how to join us. And we got quite a few new people joining us as well, which is great, Ben, because that used to happen to us all the time. After we'd win, we'd get a barrage of people that like, we want to be part of your group. And we're like, oh, okay. I don't think we ever really said no to anybody. But we got a lot of people excited about building with us, and we didn't even really have a collab. We did have a collab, but it was a pretty small collab.
Yeah.
It was like a half a table worth of Miniland builds that were just rebuilt. Like they were Miniland builds of our previous collaborations.
Collaboratives, yeah.
And
The collaboration of collaboratives.
yeah.
And it was fun to do them in mini scale and to think back on
That's
some of the things we did, which, you know, a lot of them were fun. And I will say that of all of the things this year, there were a number of collaboratives that were good,
Yeah.
but it didn't feel as like there was as many kooky collaboratives as we're used to seeing. There were a few that were a little off color, but there were several that were very cohesive, so much to the point that you wouldn't necessarily know they were collaborative unless you looked at the card.
Right.
There were also enormous builds that were done by one person.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a mix. So it didn't feel quite the same as some other years, but the Twin Lug collab, the Fallout one, that one was excellent. I knew that one was a collab, of course. But a few of the groups that normally do collaboratives didn't bring a large collaborative.
I know, right?
So we'll see next year. Your
Including
bricks
us.
will be back.
Yeah.
But I don't know who else will be there too. There wasn't like New Hashima, obviously. That's, you know, its own thing when it comes. But there were a lot of smaller collabs that were really cool too.
Neo Atlanta is the new one that was going around this year. We'll see if they're able to keep it together. They was supposed to be there this year. Clever Pig reminded me of this. That was really awesome. I got to meet Clever Pig at the impromptu garage sale. So I actually even hung out there for a bit. And usually I just have to run through. Usually I've got that little badge that lets me use the back of house. And I used it less this year because I wanted to run into people. I actually had time to run into people. So that night I chose to go through the lobby and see what was going on. And what was going on was fantastic. And I was in a pretty good mood the entire time. So that's new as well. I mean, I don't think I'm ever like really a dick or anything, but I definitely am not like as nice as I used to be when I was just an attendee. Like it's just not possible, unfortunately. But it was I would say just per pound less drama than last year.
I actually had to tell Mark to walk with me this year, as opposed to him saying walk with me. So,
so Alex designed the program this year, and I was like, let's take the schedule out and let you do whatever you want. Do full color. So the only comment I got about it is people did miss having a printed schedule. So we can work on that in several ways. The other thing is I kept putting the schedule up on the video wall, but it was with like 20 other minutes of footage. And so I think what the video wall needs to be half schedule, half ads for our sponsors and for the live stream and stuff like that. So I can't wait to tell our sponsors next year that I need a square video. I'm sure they'll love that. Lots of comments pouring in here. Stud City says low-key garage sale had some sweet deals. That's good. Clever Pig says most garage sale sellers were very willing to deal, which is awesome. Arc Bricks is here. Says I thought that awesome squadron build by the front was a collab, but it was just one guy. Yeah,
there were like 4 massive builds at the front of the hall. There was a 1/6 scale X-Wing, the giant test facility thing. Yeah. Ooh, Simpson's house.
Wow, you got that at the garage sale?
Yes.
At the impromptu one or at the real one?
This is the real, yeah.
Wow. No, I mean the real garage sale or the lobby one.
This was lobby sale.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah,
wow.
This was actually lobby sale before the actual garage sale. They're like, hey, we're here.
Yeah.
One of those types of, they have it and it's available. And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. Price was very reasonable for what it normally goes for. So yeah, I was definitely there. So
yeah,
nice.
So back to what we were saying there. So they had a 1/6 scale X-Wing, 2 giant castles, this test facility spaceship build thing. Those were in a big bank or museum or something, a big museum.
Oh, yeah.
They were each of those were done by one person. And then there were a couple of like 2 people builds up there. We had the Disc Golf Mountain by Super Hawk up there.
Yeah.
There was also a Imperial Probe Droid up front.
Yes.
So there was a lot of big things up there.
That they took that out. Yeah. They had the what was it called? the that line that wrapped around the building for the public. They took the probe droid out to like entertain people. So
drove it around out there.
Alex, if you're still watching, we got some feedback here from Amy Schultz. She loved this year's program. Love all the history, the lore, and the photos. The schedule is too big to add to it anyway. That's what most of the program used to be. We did it in 3 different ways. We did it alphabetical by presentations, workshops, social activities, and competitions. And then we did a visual schedule. Is a lot of work to get all that information in there. And it was something that I thought people would want. And I was just like, well, what if people didn't have it? Would they miss it? And so I did get some feedback that they did miss it, but I don't think we have to be that elaborate. And there's other ways to get it out there. We had it on the app, but not a lot of people had trouble with Wi-Fi. I know once public days started, it was almost impossible to get a cell signal in that room. We have hotspots for our box office to work. And I had to quick order up what's it called? A hardwired internet, just so we could do credit card transactions at the box office. Brick Built Lab says our collab was the Pink City. Oh, I like the Pink City.
So there was, that one.
Clever Pink. Clever Pig says no. Of course, maybe better words would be Mark appeared low stress. Apologies for the poor word choice. You're fine. You tell I didn't take anything about it at all. Yeah. Patrick Bavier says congrats to the Fallout collab. Yeah, seriously. Pulling the all-nighter to get it done. Yeah, on-site building is never fun. Elgoff says it sounds like so much fun. I hope one year I'll be able to attend. We hope so too. Absolutely. Clever Pig says Fallout collab was so good. Agreed. Amy Schultz says I printed the schedule. It was 30 pages. The app performed the schedule perfect. Good to know. VMAC Tech says I love the magazine. Printed my own schedule before I came, so I didn't miss it. Counter Bricks Build Craze says nice score.
Nice score, of course.
Oh yeah, definitely. When the Simpsons house. Durs Brick says, okay, we all love you for moral support. Let me make sure that I got this here. Lou said the impromptu and regular garage sales were very chill. Yes, the regular garage sale was incredibly chill, and that made me very happy because it's my least favorite part of the weekend. And Amy Schultz also says, yes, I went back to last year's program. None of the lore was in it. Last year, I didn't know about the Brickles until after Brickworld was over. Good feedback. Thank you. So I bought them all this year. The reason I'm starting to talk so fast is I really have to use the bathroom. So I'm going to remove myself real quick and let you guys continue. We are at an hour, so I guess it's a good time to use the bathroom. But I did eat real fast tonight, so I'll be a minute.
And I did actually buy the shirt. Pre-order merch to this shirt.
Nice. Yes, I picked up the gray as well.
Yeah, so I got my Brickworld shirt. Let's see. And all of this other stuff, right? We're talking about a lot of our personal fun and our personal memories. There was lots of Lego stuff that happened at Brickworld too.
I was just going to actually bring that up. I was curious the thoughts on the Ninjago releases as well as the Bricklink. 2 monumental, substantial things happened this year that haven't happened before, at least for quite a while. The Ninjago, we had both Lego House and the Ninjago creators there to do those releases and the video and of the series for Ninjago Legends, I believe. Is that
Monstrosity? Yep,
Monstrosity.
And so Ninjago and Bricklink designer was epic. I had events going on for both of those things, so I missed them. However, I heard about them tangentially, and we will talk about the Bricklink Designer Series 8 stuff later tonight. And the Ninjago one I didn't see. Mark said, and lots of people have said, it's they think the best Ninjago series out there. It is kind of hitting the exact note and the exact audience that it should. Yes. So a lot of people are very excited about that. That's kind of one of the things about Brickworld, being there with your family or your friends, or helping Mark out when he asks. Sometimes you don't make it to every single thing that is out there. And sometimes you have to pick and choose.
You'll set a schedule. You set a schedule of what you want to try and do, and you end up making about half of it if you do.
I don't feel bad that I did other things other than those things. But they sounded like they were a lot of fun. Jesse's Brick Galaxies here as well, checking in. And Hawkeye Lego Man's thanking everyone for their feedback on the program.
Yeah, I was only able to catch half of the Ninjago preview. There was some other stuff going on I was trying to help with, and then I think I had another session or something that I was helping with that I had to go and help take care of and stuff. So I was only able to catch half of it. But I did end up Sunday afternoon catching the designer and sitting down with Dimi for about an hour,
There
just
you go.
an impromptu conversation with him to talk with him about his history with Lego, who he is, and all of that type of stuff, which was phenomenal because doing follow up and finding out the interviews that he had with several other creators and their perspectives on it. What I got to actually talk with him about and discuss with him was completely different in topic. So it was absolutely wonderful just to sit and get to know him and talk to him. He's been with Lego for 9.5 years as a
Yep.
lead or as a designer, and now the lead designer for Ninjago. And his passion is very much in what we're getting right now with Monstrosity. And I have major hopes for what's going to be coming in this line. So
Cool.
Yeah. The line
I also
and the
missed the
anime.
I missed the introduction to the episode because when they set up things up in there pretty quickly, and as they were setting up the screens on those tables, they forgot to close the door to the Bricklink room, and the lights were on in the Bricklink room, and it was right behind the screen, so you can. It was kind of blocking a good portion of the screen, so I ran out to turn the lights off in the Bricklink room, so the light wouldn't shine through the screen. And so I don't know where the story starts, but I mean, I don't know the Ninjago lore. I don't like watch it, but I thought it was a pretty interesting direction for them to take. And they're starting to focus more on adults with it because they realize how many people grew up with Ninjago and are still into it. Which is kind of cool that they're doing that more and more nowadays. Because I've said this before on the stream. First couple of Brickworlds, they would bring designers to the show. They brought the head of design a couple years in a row. And they would sit down and talk to us, poor things, and get questions like, why did you just continue Old Gray? And like, but people would always be like, you should focus more. Like they'd already come out with Cappy Corner. So you guys should do more adults oriented sets. And they'd always say like, it's not going to happen. It's not big enough of our market to produce sets aimed at adults. And they've certainly changed their mind on that. They seem to more and more every year for sure. So we got a high and buy from Copper Valor. I missed Copper Valor stream on Friday night. Like I was excited about it, and then watched Friday Night Bricks. I usually watch them both at the same time, which is very difficult. I just kept forgetting to like open the other window. I was trying to build at the same time. So Copper, sorry I missed your stream this week. Looking forward to catching it back up sometime this week. D Bishop Bishop Family says it's hard to get everything you want to do, but that's a great thing. And let's see. I don't know if you brought any of these up in the meantime, so I will leave it there. But I do like Amy Schultz's comment here. It helps me feel a part of the community, knowing about the Brickles and the difference between Gujiks and tokens. That was nice to have in the program this year. Lou says, I've never been a huge fan of Ninjago, but after seeing the new sets and the new Monstrosity series is definitely making me a believer. VMAC Attack is here. I don't think he was here earlier. You got maybe a little late.
He was.
Hopefully that.
Yeah, he was.
Okay. Well, he was here from the beginning. Sorry, I wasn't. So that's probably why I didn't know. Hopefully that Kraken they showed
from VMAC, I believe.
Hopefully that Kraken they showed makes it into a set. There's one up here too.
They did have like a little Kraken-y guy on the bottom of the mech. The big mech legend set. They do have some sort of beast that he's killing at the bottom.
Oh,
I don't know if that's the same one.
Down in the bottom of the lake, yes.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That is what it. That is
the mind control Kraken that was in the lake. That was yes. Everything you want is here. Come this way, and so
they left me that set too. I have it. They had built it to show it off, and they're like, we're not going to bring this back. Do you want it? And I was like, sure. This is like Sunday at like 5 p.m. So I was like, the red mech with the spear and the cape.
Cool cape. Yeah.
Isn't that the one that's killing the Kraken?
Yep. That's the one. Yep. So we get a highly recommend watching Ninjago. Jesse, Rick Dad has the dragon. We are going to talk about Dragon ? In a little bit, Jesse.
Yeah, this is the green one here. And Demetrius actually signed a blade for me. So I've got a sword for her to go with the set from them.
Nice. That's awesome.
So,
interesting. Yeah, I think one thing I looked through, I saw the set. The one thing I was a little disappointed about with the dragon is it's basically built into the rock Like it's
Yeah.
like it's a statue. It's kind of like set there. At the same time, if I built it, I would just leave it set there too. And to get it to look the way they wanted, they kind of had to do it. But you know, I don't know. Sometimes I still feel like I want to play with my Lego, even though I know I'm not going to.
Right.
So, it's
Arcbrick
just one of
says I
those
haven't.
weird things.
Arcbrick says I haven't bought many Ninjago sets since 2014, but it was funny to learn that the few I have bought were mostly designed by Demi. Glad they have someone like him on the team for sure. Stud City says the Kraken makes an appearance in the Fire Knight mech. That's the one that I have that they left for me. VMAC Attack says there was a full scale version in the concept art they showed when he was talking about the dragon legs. I wish I would have seen the rest of that. I was trying to crowd control outside from all the people who just got there making takes and left. Hawkeye Lego Man said, we'll definitely take note of your feedback, Amy. Thank you. Yep, same here. Lou says, please tell me it was Julie Andrews who was doing the voice for the dragon in Monstrosity. I don't know who that was.
I don't know. I got to catch this Monstrosity. I got to see it. And I know they've dropped some episodes, so hopefully my son will be into it.
The first 3 episodes are up on YouTube, yes.
Yeah, the other fun thing, and I sent Mark a picture of this yesterday. When I got home, like my son, he's not really into Lego that much. My daughter a little more so than him, but there are certain events he loves, and his favorite is the Train Olympics, where they run the trains into each other on two tracks. There are 2 tracks that just cross at one point, and they run into each other. This year, one of the fun gags was a train built to look like a Fortnite llama. And when it crashed into the other train, it exploded with 1x1s everywhere. And
oh God!
After the llama exploded, it was just a little tiny what do you call that? The cart with the pump handle, that's in all the cartoons that
the hand cart thing. Yeah.
The hand cart. That's what was inside the base. So it's just a hand cart running around the track after that. So my son really loved that. So we wanted to do something similar. They use the 9-volt track to do that. We don't have any 9-volt track, but we did have a bunch of the newer track. It's not as easy to do the train derby because, they just have to set their train back on the 9-volt and it goes instead of having to push buttons on the controllers. But they no longer have crisscross track. So I told my son he has a 3D printer he got for his birthday. I bet he could find a track that crisscrossed to print, and he did. So we printed 4 of those and made our own track. It's purple because that's the one color filament he has, but it worked perfectly. So we spent yesterday afternoon crashing trains into each other.
That's awesome.
Thanks to Brickworld. Yeah,
I used to do that when I was in the trains.
You need to get him building a boat as well. We need more boats for boat competition.
Yeah. The competition coordinators stood up at closing ceremonies and said, we only had 4 entries into the boat race this year. It's the first time I went to see the boat race, and it was very, very fast. So they're putting a call out to be like, there's this boat race. It's the only one that does it. We need more entries. I'm just like, sure, I'll build one. I don't know the first thing about gearing a boat to actually work and race. So we'll see how far I get with that. But, want to definitely support every part of the community. VMAC Attack says it's called a Gandhi Dancer. The hand cart thing, hand pump cart thing. Hawkeye Lego Man says, I ran to the Lego store and bought one of the last mechs. The dragons were sold out by the time I arrived. Reed likes the idea of purple track. Train crashing. Yeah, it's in the schedule. It happens during public hours, doesn't it, Ben?
It does. No, it is. After.
Oh, Caboose Train. Caboose Train is public hours. That's right.
Yeah. No, this happens
the train crashing
usually
is,
around
after.
7.
Okay.
Yeah, 7 on Friday or no, probably Saturdays. Probably Saturday night. So I think Saturday night. This was our schedule. Saturday night we had
information on the boat races are in Discord. You just need to look it up and do a search in Discord for Brickworld boat racing, and you'll be able to pull it up.
And we'll make sure that there's more information about that this year on our Instagram page. Alex is going to help me work on a campaign to make more people aware of it, and maybe one of our competition coordinators can do a tutorial for how to gear your boat for this, how to wire it, and the safe ways of doing this. We have had boats sink there for sure. Reed is really excited about the purple track. Did I already say that? Probably. Oh, there we go. Amy showed. That's where I was at.
Yeah. So
says-
Saturday,
Okay.
our schedule was we ate pizza, we watched the trains crash, we went to the comedy show, and then we went to World of Lights. So like that's a full evening for sure.
Oh, no kidding. It's every
fun
evening's a
stuff.
full evening for us for sure. You can, yeah, and you did a
Yes.
lot of stuff for say Miles's birthday. You did a lot of family stuff. So you did a lot of
We did
Brickworld
some.
and some vacationing
Yep.
stuff. General Tron's Bricks is joining us tonight. Thanks for being here. Smokey Smokes is here. I got to meet Smokey Smokes in person. Says, hey, Ben, Mark, and chat. Brickworld was a fantastic experience. Look forward to returning next year. Awesome. Can't wait to see you again. Friday Night Brick says,
Yes.
my components were in my train. Sorry, my boat was in dry dock this year. Yeah. I know Reed was a little upset that he wasn't able to build a boat this year. I remember his last Brickworld hype stream talking about not being able to build a boat. Lou says, one of my favorite events is the boat races in the pool. I have to restrain myself from jumping in and acting like Godzilla. Yeah, definitely something that would kind of probably reset the race. Reed also says the key is to use electric tape or duct tape on the Lego boat hulls to keep from added water in the hulls. Okay. Yep. Definitely fantastic to meet Smokey. D Bishop says the RC parade was fun and we were the judges for it. That's nice. I haven't seen the RC parade either. There's a bunch of stuff that happens that I don't see. And then even going through my own pictures, I was literally going through my pictures that I took and said, oh, I didn't see that there. And I was like, oh, wait, these are my pictures. I was trying to do this. I was trying to do this dumb thing this year. Right? It might have been. Like, so yeah, sometimes the photos get stuck in my camera. It's a little bit older and sometimes doesn't always transfer well, especially
one of
with
my
the
number one recommendations for people when they come to the show. I said take more pictures than you think you even can look at, because you're going to see stuff when you go back through the pictures that you didn't see or that you're not sure you saw. So yeah, definitely.
I'm the living embodiment of that advice, because what I was the reason I didn't see it is because I did this dumb thing this year that I thought I was going to be able to accomplish, where I was going to try to go through and take a picture of every creation. And I got down a quarter of the first aisle, but it was in those pictures that I was like, I didn't know this was there. But it's because I was taking pictures so fast. I was trying to do creation, mock card, And I didn't really have a lot of time to finish that. Brick That Builds, just to let you know, we keep running over you. Your audio is just like a split second behind. So if we keep interrupting you, I do apologize. Hawk also says, our advertising campaign for the boat competition, it's about time you entered the boat competition.
There you go.
How are you so young and you've got dad jokes already? V Macatech says, I took almost none because when I take pictures, I forget to look at the builds. Live life through your own eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, there's kind of that too. Well, look at this. We are over an hour. We're topic one. We could talk about topic one for another 6 years. Maybe we'll talk about the community and themes a little later, because I think maybe some of that will come in while we're talking about some of our favorites and our silly missing mock card game. And maybe we do just briefly talk about anything we built this week, mostly because I saw the mention of the dragon. Figure maybe we can show the dragon. And a lot of people asked about the hexagons. So I'm going to show a little bit on the hexagons. And, do some of the normal stuff we do on the stream. If you're a first-time viewer, you can catch sort of one of our key segments that we try to do, which is helping people know how to, not know how to, helping people create their own builds to bring to Brickworld. It can still be an intimidating entry for a lot of people, but it doesn't have to be. The Brickworld community is very accepting. Build skill levels of all types are accepted. You will get people who love ideas, even if you don't have the bricks to complete them. You'll get all kinds of feedback when you're there if you want it, or just enjoy the show if you don't. But it's something we always like to talk about. So, sorry, I'm hijacking this here, Mark.
Ben, one of the best categories for people to start off with is vignettes, which is a category for judging and stuff like that. And it's something small enough that you can put a lot of detail and a lot of time into,
100%.
but it's also something that's easy enough to travel with, that you don't have to worry about how am I going to get it there and is it going to survive the trip.
Yes.
You don't need to get a friend to bring a cart up to your hotel room to make 2 trips to get everything down so that you can start assembling it. But a vignette is a great way to start. And that's, it's a judging category. So you can definitely win even just doing a vignette.
And I'll say I'm attracted to some of the smaller builds over giant things. Some of my favorite builds tend to be smaller. I love some of the big builds too, but I take more pictures of small things than I do big things usually. But let's take a look at the one mock we never showed on screen, at least not fully, which would be the dragon question mark after the walk-up song. So let's do that here.
Who's this kicking it with a new mob? New mob. New mob. New mob. Yeah. Will we get a chunky mech? Will we get computer tech? And orange spaceship so sleek? Does he hate castles this week? Does the new mech have a wicked team? Has the castle from last week been reshaped? Has he built 5 orcs and welcomes the Cerberus Daddy Ben? Yeah! Choke the 5-bit! Computer tech!
Okay, well, I added it.
Yeah,
the
way to
stream.
go.
Here it is. Here it is. It's
How
we'll
is that?
figure this out. Here we got it. Took a little bit of effort. There we have it. All right, so this was the one build that we never got to show on stream, mostly because I was like, well, gotta have something that some people haven't seen, something to look forward to. And I picked the dragon, mostly because I did it quickly and I had it out of here so it wasn't taking up the entire desk so I could start the next project. I've built one creature before. It didn't turn out so well. This turned out quite a bit better than the first one I did. So this is where the dragon ended up. I know Mark saw me working on the base a little bit one night when we were streaming together or talking about the show. But this ended up being my final creature. One of the last things I did on it was add the fire. There's a light in there, so you can't really tell because the batteries are probably almost drained, and this camera's not perfect. But there's some lights flickering inside the fire as well. Kind of gave it like this napalm feel, like it was being spit out and then gravity was kind of pulling it down. The little splash effect at the end. So this is where it ended up. I still think his head's a touch too big for his body, but for the most part, it came out about where I thought it was, where I wanted it. There was a couple of revisions. It wasn't perfect the first time. I redid the wings a couple times. I redid the legs 3 times. Redid the chest a couple times. But for the most part, it ended up where I wanted it. I can move the limbs a little, but not a lot. So not really play worthy. It is mostly just a display piece. Though you can kind of move things around a little bit if you want to kind of change up, how it looks with how the tail's angled or how the legs.
Have you taken a measurement on that wingspan of how wide that wingspan is? Because it's very disillusioning looking at it here on the camera as opposed to actually being in front of it.
Yeah.
Because that wingspan is massive. So,
yeah, the wings are pretty large. Yeah, it is. You can kind of see my arm in here. I don't know. I need a banana for scale, right? That's the joke. I haven't measured it from tip to tip, but it is bigger than it appears on stream for sure. Maybe I can find a Lego dragon to put next to it, but it is a decent size build.
A peely bone.
Find one. Hold on.
Yeah,
I don't have a peely bone.
I don't either. I'm surprised I don't have it, but I like how he got the like the finger, like the veining in the dragon's wings. Because if you look at like drawings of dragons, that's like usually the wings are almost like arms, where the wings have like the large fingers in the at the end of the long arm, and that's what is holding the wings in place. Really like that. In the meantime, Rich Henderson is here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Says that dragon is medicine. Love it. Hawkeye Lego Man says, I watched you set it up. It looks excellent. Bishop Family says, Ben, you and the dragon are blurry. Yeah, I noticed that. We got a little bit of a slow connection, I think, from Ben tonight. So was the reason it titled Dragon was because it's actually a wyvern. Brickworld Labs knows. So has Ben talked to us a little bit about the reason you named it Dragon?
Yeah. So okay, if it is blurry, I can hop out and come back in. I am getting that stupid low speed connection thing.
Low speed thing, yeah. All right, we'll talk.
We'll do that here in a second. Here,
Right.
I'll throw this up here. So this is the big smog. So this is the smog from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
So there's smog.
Okay, yeah, that definitely
compared to the
helps.
dragon. So get an idea that, I don't know, he's 3 times the size of smog plus.
Your
Actually, I'll
dragon's
save
head
it.
is almost the same size as the body on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generatron's Bricks was also going to mention it being a wyvern. I thought a wyvern was a
Yes.
type of dragon.
Wyvern is a dragon that doesn't have 4 legs.
Okay.
Like the dragons in Game of Thrones, for example, are technically wyverns. There's a whole debate about that though, because Game of Thrones also has a creature called a wyvern, which is different.
Interesting.
But anyway, I will leave the studio and come back.
I've got a
I'll be right
good
back.
picture of one here. Let's see. Open image in new tab. What's up, Brick Dad?
I was just gonna say, this is like literally the only thing that I've built since being at the show, and this is more of a tribute thing that I built for a couple
There
of
you
guests
go.
that we met that actually did.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're familiar with who these people are, there's a significant birthday coming up, which would have been, which will be on the 25th, and that is the Bricklink founder Daniel. His birthday is actually the 25th. So I made these as a tribute for them, for Larry and Liska.
Aliska, yeah.
Yep.
Jezkova, yes.
So yeah,
That's nice.
Daniel's
I
mother.
love that.
So,
They give a very emotional speech there at the end of the show at what's it called? Our award ceremony. Yeah. So here is what everyone's talking about. This is the difference between a wyvern and a dragon. You can definitely see here 4 limbs on the dragon. And then as we were talking about with Ben's, as I was saying, that's what I liked about it. It happened to be the actual definition of wyvern is that the arms are the wings on a wyvern. So, okay, good to know. There's a difference between the two. Joellen is right on top of it. 4 legs, 2 wings. Wyverns have 2 legs, 2 wings. Typically have claws that function as arms. Let's see. Bishop Family says, I wanted to hear her talk. And we didn't. So we filmed the opening ceremonies. The keynote. I keep doing that to myself. I'm the one who wants to change the differentiation between the two. And so we unfortunately didn't record it. It was a beautiful speech, very heartfelt, very sweet. And just kind of the idea that there was not an AFOL in the room whose life hasn't been touched by her son's work on Bricklink. So it was very moving. She expressed concerns about her health and being able to come back again. So she was kind of a farewell. But hopefully things go better than she's imagining, and we will be able to see her again because she's always just such a great presence at the show. We got a super chat here from Gabriel Cabral. Thank you, Gabriel. Appreciate that a lot. I want to start the Peely Bone Fund for the Brickworld YouTube channel. I think that deserves a little Peely Bone, unless I'm mistaken. Let me see if I can find it.
Do it up. We got Peely Bone.
We sure do, but I can never find anything on here. I'm so bad at this. We can sit here and stare at me looking.
A new Lego set, can't wait to see. Oh, it's Peely Bone, okay, what could it be? Half banana, half bone, it's a bonkers sight. Be it stupid or cute, it just doesn't seem right. Guts, oh, what it's like to behold little brown spiders, stories untold. Is it a bruised banana or something else? How did Peely Bone end up on the shelves? A banana with a skeleton, what's the deal? A mashup too wild to find the appeal. He's not a doorbell, don't say ding dong. Every part of Peely Bone is just plain wrong. Don't say ding dong, don't say ding dong. just plain wrong, just plain wrong. Don't say ding dong, don't say ding dong. Every part of Peely Bone is just plain wrong.
Thank you again, Gabriel, so much for the super chat. Appreciate that a lot. That's always a little I looked at the screen right as the most questionable slide from that song was up. I was like, oh god, that's jarring. I think one of my favorite moments from the weekend was the impromptu sing-along that happened during World of Lights. Ben was playing the all of our songs from the show, and our friend Debs got to see it for the first time. She lives in Broadchurch, near Broadchurch, and it's just a really bad time slot for Europe to be able to see it. And she was dying laughing at the Villains That Rhyme with Ox segment and a good number of the songs. And so we're just in there, like, lights are out, and we should be walking around looking at all the World of Light stuff. We're just standing there for like a half hour singing every song from the stream. It was still fun though.
Yeah, laughing along with Debs, like the joy of her discovering it was like so much fun.
Yeah, made it funny, just as funny as the first time watching her see Ben come up with all the different villains.
Yeah, my favorite parts are still the things you say in response. Those are my favorite lines still.
That's so
like, what
tired.
is happening right now?
So Rich Henderson says, the more you know. I can't wait to identify a wyvern as someone in everyday conversation. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
actually, that's not a dragon.
That's what we were
it's a
talking
wyvern.
about. Yeah, that's a wyvern.
Yeah.
And Smog, also a wyvern. When they first filmed The Hobbit, in the very opening scene, Smog, when he attacks, they actually have a four-legged variant. You watch the opening scene, crawl in, but then when they had Benedict Cumberbatch voice Smog, he kind of did like some acting where he was like slithering around on the ground, and they liked the way that he had done that so much they wanted the dragon to be more serpentine or snaky. So they ended up removing the extra set of legs and going with a wyvern type design.
Bishop family was
Ben, I
able to
can't
meet-
help but notice there's a similarity between Smog there and the dragon you built. Was that an influence on what you were looking to build, or just
not at all.
coincidence?
Just coincidence. I mean, I guess, wyverns have similar features. They both happen to have similar colors because this is the color I had when I first started working on this at my dad's house. So a little bit of the question was, why was it dragon ? And the big reason is because I didn't know if I was going to finish it or even build it in the first place. So that was the actual reason. However, after I knew I was going to finish it, a couple other reasons came into my mind, which influenced a little bit of the design. First of all, I knew it was going to be a wyvern. So that was one of the discussion points as well. It's not really technically a dragon. And then the other thing that I did is I added all of the dragon shields from all the other factions somewhere in the build. So the real question is, who is the dragon? It's not the knights. It's technically not even the wyvern here, but that kind of became the thing is, you think you're a dragon knight, you think you're the dragon. Come find
Speaking
out.
of which, Ben,
Come
I
taste
have a
your
couple
metal.
more for you to add to your dragon.
Ah, yes, those are great figures. Yeah, those are awesome. Then the other thing that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the hexagons. Because I had a lot of people ask about the hexagons.
I'm asking about them because now we have to collaborate together, and I'd rather build them on hexagons so we can kind of show how to collaborate with them.
Yeah. So
Look at that.
here is a hexagon, a super hexagon, a super duper hexagon.
Oh, so this is bigger than
And
any of the ones we've seen. This is a new size.
This is what do we want to call this one? The XL Chonkagon?
Bigger than double
Chonkagon,
Chonkagon?
that's no moon.
That's no moon. That's a double Chonkagon. Yeah.
The Death Staragon? I don't know.
Jones Brick says, love the new Griffin Knight. Yep.
Yeah, so here's here's an example of the hex. Right? So here's one of the littler hexagons. And then some of the technique that goes into building this, kind of the big reason that the hexagon is a little bit tricky to build, is that in order to get the right angle to have four sides that are the same length, the right angle on this slope side is made up by chi slopes. Those are the pieces that have the appropriate dimensions, the appropriate angle to create the hexagon. Now, the one thing about the chi slopes is they are 2 plates tall. They drop one on the ground. They're 2 plates tall, but they have a little lip. So in order to make sort of a smooth line like I've made here and not have it look really steppy, steppy's a word, I think.
Yeah.
The actual difference when you move out going this direction to make a nice smooth line is 1.5 plates, not 2 plates. So each time you move over a row, you have to go out 1.5 plates. The first time I built a hexagon, I basically just went right down the aisle where I wanted to make the hexagon edge, and I would put a 1x1 brick with stud on one side, and then a bracket next to it because the bracket sticks out half a plate, and then 1x1 brick again with stud on side. I just did that all the way down, and then I built all of the hexagon out this way. The problem with that is it was very unstable, as you might imagine, because when I got here to the end, there were many, many, many plates and bricks to go from here way out to here, and they couldn't attach to the piece next to them because they were offset by half a stud or half a plate by a bracket. But it occurred to me that, well, every time I step out 1 level and up 1 level, I actually add 2.5 plates because 1 stud length is 2.5 plates. So as long as I don't start with the chi slope connected directly to this bracket, for example, every time I go out, I can get my half stud offset set plus 2 plates. So that's basically what I was doing. Sort of the trick to that, though, is because the difference here has to be between these 2 points. I know this is probably not making sense, but when you watch it back or try to build it, hopefully it will, is only 1.5 plates. And when I step out, it's 2.5 plates. I kind of had to start with 2 in a line and then step it out. 2.5 plates, 2.5 plates, 2.5 plates. Eventually you'll catch up like I did in this section where my chi slope no longer has any sort of plates underneath it or behind it. Instead, it just has a chi slope. So then the next spot over, I had to put a bracket. And
So what is that, about eight chi slopes before you start over the process?
Was way less than that. And then a regular 1x1 with stud again. And then I start the step out again. It's actually every 4, I believe, is where you kind of have to restart. But you'll see that pattern there. So here's the 1x1s with stud on side. And then when I reached here, I no longer had any more plates that I could add to it. So I had to go over 2. Then I could go up again, and then over 2, and go up again, and over 2, and then up again. So that's sort of the better design, I guess, because it's far more stable. There you can get an idea
I'm looking forward to doing this. So this will be
how
fun.
it looks.
Same.
So you get an idea of how it looks there. So
yeah.
So there's kind of how I did it.
Nice.
So that kind of gives you some idea. Maybe we'll do a better tutorial on this, but that's sort of the idea of the hexagon.
Catch up on some comments here. Bishop family says they were able to meet Liska Jeskova at the auction, said she was wonderful. General John Brick says that's kind of why Thorin Oakenshield used that as an insult on Smaug. Also said that we already got Friday Night Brick says super hexagon. General John Brick says the coloring is perfect. I imagine that's about the dragon. Friday Night Brick says this sounds like it needs an Amazon how-to video, which you had just said. You'll do a deeper dive on it in a separate video. Al Goff suggests that we call it the super mega Colossagon.
Colossagon. All right.
Yeah, I like that.
Colossagon.
Yeah.
Colossagon.
Love it. Lou says, I love the hexagon base. What was the catalyst for making the base a hexagon? Style, stability, or both?
So a lot of it was I I think what we talked about, and we've talked about this a number of times, kind of what sets a lot of medieval builds apart. And, you know, like I said, the one I did this year that won Best Medieval wasn't a castle. What tends to happen, whether you want to or not, is everything ends up very square in a castle. You have straight lines and straight walls. And really what makes builds stand apart is being able to add angles in some capacity. And if you don't, you still want it to be stable enough to travel and pick up. One way to do that is to offset the bases, make them a different shape. So that was sort of the original inspiration, was then I could build modules to go off of a single castle that would add some different characteristics, different angles to build things at. So I have a number of tree modules. I built some wells, for example, for some of them, paths, you know, just little scenes that I can do that can kind of be their own standalone mock or can be added to a larger build out.
Yeah, we've
Sort of
seen
the
Ben.
idea.
We've seen Ben build some do some designs where he was able to change the seasons by changing out the trees on the smaller hexagons,
Right.
and kind of like update it for, you know, go from winter to spring or whatever.
Right. I mean, that's the kind of thing you can do. And the fact that they're on hexagons just makes it a little easier to rotate them all kinds of different positions in order to add some more angles and curiosity to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's a really kind of cool modular system for landscape and setting, I would say. VMAC Attack suggests that you can also put headlight bricks studded into each other, alternating upright and on their back. So he's thought a lot about this. This must be what they're doing for.
You can do that too. Yep.
What's it called? Fort Wayne's collaborative for Haunted Brickworld this year, which I finally have the advertisement started, and I'll announce it soon that we're doing a Haunted Brickworld for Brickworld Fort Wayne this year. Algoff says that's a crap load of parts for that.
It is. So the
Used to be more.
The bracket, yeah, it used to be worse. So the bracket, grab a bracket, grab the brackets.
And this must be James. James says that Ben's hexagons were part of my inspiration for my octagons.
Yeah, so the bracket sticks out half a plate, and then the headlight brick is recessed half a plate. So if you add a 1x1 to this here, you'll be out half a plate as well.
Mm-hmm.
So on this design, this is out half a plate on a bracket. This one is not out half a plate. It's just regular. And then every time I step up, I go out 2.5 plates. When I get down to the point where my cheese slope would no longer have a plate behind it, then I went out with a bracket next to it, didn't step up a level. Then I put another 1x1 with stud on side here to go out, and I'd restart the process. So the next one out would be out one stud from this, and I do a 1x1 with stud on side like this, because I'm getting 2.5 plates out every time I jump a level. So that's kind of the design. So that's what might get you the best look at it. Just keep doing that until I get to the end where it's pointy in the middle, and then I'll go back down the other side. So, and these should match up with 4 of the triangle pieces. So I did 2, 3, and now 4 of these triangle pieces as the length.
Ben, the thickness of that when that's sitting on the table is what? 2 brick high with a plate?
Nope, it's exactly 5 plates tall. It's exactly what
5 plates tall. Okay.
Yeah, it's exactly what a brick on its side that's two studs tall is. It's 5 plates.
Okay.
That's exactly what it is all the way across. Yep. Now you can see there 4 of my little triangles. So this one's 4 times the size of my smallest hexagon.
Okay.
Yikes.
So that's how it goes.
So
And
you
of
could
course,
pull the
this should be
middle
4.
triangle and put a hex in there.
Yep. So you should be exactly 4 out this way as well. So
A lot of maths.
it's not really too much math. It's just after you kind of have it figured out and set, you can just kind of go.
So General John Brick says these are Lego draw units, which he says he's only been aware of in the last year. I'm not aware of what they are. Lego draw units.
Yeah. I don't know.
Fractional Lego.
What's that?
Fractional Lego.
Is it like
Fractional Lego.
the brick
not
ruler that
building-
comes with the designer set that they
Yeah,
produced there for a while?
so the snot building math is pretty much two studs is 5 plates, or as I like to think of it, a plate is 0.4 studs thick. So that's the other way you can do the math. So each plate or each bracket is 0.2 studs thick. So that's the other way to do it. That might help you with the math. I don't know. For some people, it's better that way. Some people, they'd like the fraction better. But that's how you do some of the on the side buildings to know that.
And then there's some of us just need the brick to sit down and actually play with the brick to see it in our head and do it that way
Yeah.
as well. So
100% that.
There's that. Yep.
Bishop Family asks, what is the bracket attached to?
It's just this bracket is just attached
brick.
to
To
four.
one brick. Yeah. One brick
4
on top of
plate
the
tall.
bottom plate. Yeah.
Yep. That's all it is. So these are all at 5 plates tall. So it's 2 plates underneath, which lets me build a nice sturdy base. And it's just the brick with the 1x1 on top of that, so that it's 5 plates tall. And I can just add my cheese slopes as it goes out.
Yeah. So you got a double row of plates as the base?
Yep. 2
Yeah.
rows of plates
There
down
we
there.
go. Okay.
There we go. Focused, then it unfocused, then it focused again.
So 2
So,
layers
yeah.
of plates, and then a brick on top of that gives us our 5 plate height.
Right.
So Durs Bricks, this is a system Ben uses to put his buildings on hexagons that then fit together so that he can change the landscaping either from, like, say, example, winter to spring, or just kind of rearrange the what do you call that? The composition of the
Yep.
set. So if he feels he wants a little bit more balance of trees on one side than the other, he can just slide those hexagons over. Typically, these larger hexagons he puts an actual building on, and then uses like the smaller size hexagons to build landscaping on. And he's used them in many different ways over the past several months on the stream, and keeps coming up with new sizes. So this newest one is the Colossagon,
Super Colossagon. Yeah. So here's
Super Mega Colossagon. Yeah.
So here would be an example of some modules you could put around it.
Yeah.
The little triangles.
The beauty of
fill in
this
the
system
gaps.
is you could take it to multiple shows and change the configuration at every show. So what people see would be different every single
Yeah.
time
100%.
with the vegetation around it, around a structure or something like that, where the structure may be the same, but you could change up what's around it. You may have a well on this side, where the next show you'll have the well on the opposite side, and fall trees versus winter trees.
Yep. The dragon's on a hexagon too.
It's got to be nice to
As
have a nice
I
sturdy
went to-
base for transporting these too.
Yep, I can pick them up pretty easily. The dragon's a bit of a challenge to move because it's bigger than it looks.
Yeah.
But there you go. So here I could integrate the dragon into the rest of this mock if I wanted to, just like
Yeah.
that. So now,
Awesome.
oops. So now there it is, attached
To whatever building
attached
this
to
might
whatever
end up
build
being.
I
Yeah.
might attach this to. So I could just put trees down. You know, if this had a siege weapon or something on it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or a little
General-
castle tower.
General Transbrick says, most of my life I've only scratched the surface of the concept and realizing just how far down the rabbit hole it goes. Durs Brick says, ooh, you got an ooh, first ooh of the night. That's awesome. Durs Bricks also says, do you have a studio template? Not yet. I think he's working on that. That'd be fun. I'd like to see that since I'm going to be building a collaborative with you this year. Durs Bricks, it's a good place for a hot tub, says Hawkeye Lego Man. Lou says, once you've made the outside frame, is it possible to use a simple Mills filling?
You could do a Mills type filling on this because it's the same height. I think those are plate, then Technic brick, and then a plate on top. So it's the same height. So you could do that. You just kind of plop this frame around one of those.
Yeah.
My hexagons, one of the things that's a bit annoying is because of how I've chosen to sort of go out a couple studs to start. This length here is actually an odd number, but that's not really that big a deal.
Negligible.
Yeah, so
right.
this here, instead of being 32 wide, it's actually 33 wide. So it's not that big a deal. But
Rich Henderson says the hexagons are giving me Catan vibes. We hear that a lot when we're talking about this impressive system. It's Mills on steroids. Yeah. D Bishop says that works the same for octagons. Interesting.
Yeah, octagons may have been easier. I'll tell you that.
Then we can drop squares between instead of triangles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oops. Who knew?
I don't know. But this is kind of what I went with. I had a build last year that was on a base that was sort of hexagonal, but not quite. And then I was like, well, let's try to make one that's a perfect hexagon. And when I started looking at what pieces could do that, and I discovered the cheese slope was the only one that really was at the right angle.
Yeah.
That's sort of where it all started. So,
Brick Jedi says, ahoy, hoy. Damn, that looks rad.
Yeah, so that's kind of what we did with that. And yeah, we'll do some more stuff with this hexagon, but there are a lot of people who asked about it at the show and otherwise. And I was like, oh, we've talked about it on stream. But since I first talked about it, I've sort of evolved an easier way to do it. Hard to explain, but an easier way to do it. And so we'll maybe have a studio file or something else that we can put up. But that might give you some idea if you rewatch it on how I've done it.
That's just part of building, though, is finding new ways or simpler ways to get through a process. First process is always going to be the hardest because this is just to get what we want. Yeah. And then it's a matter of how can I refine things. So that's just building Lego.
And that looks pretty simple on the bottom. Some of my old ones are a mess. Well, that's not so bad. So
yeah, I can imagine these are the old ones.
Here we go.
Yeah.
I get this mess. So this was the old structure where I had the headlight brick and then the regular brick was stud on side all the way down.
One way to do it.
So it was.
Now, how solid is that compared to the new way?
Well, so what I ended up doing, it is about the same, but only because on the top of these I have a bunch of snot bricks, and the snot bricks are offset depending on whether or not they're the bottom of the snot brick or the top of the snot brick piece, the 1x2 sections.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
That make a big mess. I needed a whole bunch of the 5 plate tall snot bricks in order to do that. And the math on that was way worse and way more complicated. So if I peeled half of this off, you'd see what a giant mess of studs it is on the top. This is far simpler and far better.
Okay.
This is fairly stable, but definitely not the way I'd recommend doing it at all.
Okay.
So it was, it was what I did at the time without like thinking, hey, there's a much easier way to do this if I just use my brain. But
Bishop Family says we found the octagons were easy to pack to travel. And it does look like this. I mean, it just gives it such a sturdy base too. It's almost protecting the creation that ends up on top of it from the sides of the box or whatever bouncing might occur. I'm sure you had to reattach some things, but it looks like a pretty solid.
Pulling trees off.
What did I just do? There we are.
Most of the stuff on attached to the base is fine and doesn't go anywhere. Mm-hmm. It's mostly if I had a tree on it, because trees are gonna fall over. Yeah. So that's what we did. That was our mock. Do you guys have any mock stuff, or has it been too close to Brickworld to get that stuff?
I got a little bit of stuff to show. Chris showed his while you were restarting. I do have to run to the bathroom again. Do you guys want me to play a song so you have a break for water or anything else?
Sure, let's do that.
A wise man once said about Mark, you think he drinks water like a great white shark. About every 60 minutes, he's gotta go. Nature calls 2, sometimes 3 times a show. Hold the stream, he'll shout and dash. The show is live, but he's off like a flash. Instead of telling him you hold the stream, Ben provides cover, the perfect team.
Yeah.
But let's get into some of the news. Do you need the bathroom break before we go?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the bathroom break now. And then 40 minutes later, I have to take another bathroom break. Like, hey, I made it 2 hours. Now it's like, well, now you're making up for lost time. So I'm going to go. Nope, here's the right one. And I'm going to use the bathroom.
Of course you are.
You're gonna go.
Why
Why
don't you start with those? Because unfortunately, I have to use the bathroom again already.
Cool, go do it.
What's it called? What's BPH?
BPH.
It plays a tune 2 minutes long while the tainted sing along. Keeps the show rolling smooth, no rush. Mark mutes his mic so you can't hear the flush.
Mark is muted, so let me unmute him.
The reason I mute myself before I go is because I like to keep listening to what's going on, but I don't want everyone to hear me pee.
Yeah, I
It's been
managed
60 minutes since I last went, so I'll mute it and I'll be listening.
Fair enough. Yeah,
You'll be listening to me.
Hey, hey, Mark's gotta go. No interrupting the strange flow. He'll be quick, won't take too long. He'll be done by the end of this song. Hey, hey, Mark's gotta go. Mark's gotta go. Hey, hey, Mark's gotta go.
Mark just got booted because he must be grabbing himself a drink or something. He's not quite back yet.
No
but
worries.
that'll happen. I did have this other hexagon here. After, of course, I pulled my camera down. We've got this.
Now, is that Colossagon the new build since the show?
I just started that. It doesn't have anything on it yet. I have an idea of what I want to put on it already.
I figured you did.
Yeah, my wife said to me after the show was done, she said, hey, now that you've achieved Brickworld Masters, that means you're going to have a down year next year and not bring anything. And I said, you're crazy. I'm going to bring twice as much stuff so that I don't feel like, like I stopped putting in effort or something. I'm like, I don't just build for that nonsense.
We want the meaningful yet quaint Goodigs to be presented next year.
Yet quaint. I don't know about that. So here we've got, let me pull this up. So here was when I first sort of decided or kind of determined that I could move over to kicking these things out one stud. And my first attempt to do it, I did it with a bunch of these L-shaped plates. And so this one is done that way. And then on the other half, I said, I could just stack out 1x2s instead.
Oh.
So there's just the evolution of it in real time where the two halves are constructed differently, but they do the exact same thing.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's just kind of how it goes on some of this stuff is it's like, there's one way to do it. And it turned out that was maybe not the best way and sort of my next way. And maybe there's a way to do this that's 7 times easier that someone else will come up with. But that's sort of how it ended up this way.
As fast as you build, I don't know if anybody will have a chance to come up with something faster or better with just how well you do this. So,
yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't do it in a vacuum. So you've got to have a wife who'll put the kids to bed and a stream to build for and people to root for you and all that stuff. But that's what we have. Alphonse Suit Person's here.
Hey, Alphonse.
Met Alphonse at Brickworld as well. I kind of want a rebrickable of how you construct it so I can look at it. Yeah, maybe we'll have to do it in studio. It's not super complicated. I could probably design one or come up with it pretty quick.
I would say if you do
a small one, you can just scale it. I mean, it's
if you do 2 sides of it too, just do 2 sides and then people can copy build around because that should show enough of the concept.
Yeah.
General Tom's Brick says that that Colossagon is definitely big enough for a small castle. He also says, take a bit for me to add on to that. Or a mountain, exactly, a waterfall. People seem to want to build waterfalls. I feel like I'm relearning Lego all over again.
Feel like I'm relearning Lego all over again.
Hello. Dersbrick says, anyone else doing some building while watching the stream? I'm working on the newest Republic gunship set that's been in my closet since early this year. Yeah, hopefully people
Oh.
build during this stream. It should be a nice chill way to hang out with friends and build is what we intend, certainly.
I have a feeling that that Dersbricks is level Genesis from prior to Brickworld.
Oh.
That's what I would suspect based on the name and the picture and everything else I know. So that would be my speculation. So good to have him back in the stream. Met him at Brickworld, even though he's in Twin Lug, and I sort of already knew him. But I talked to him more at Brickworld than I've probably ever talked to him at any other point, which is, always kind of interesting. All right, looks like Mark's got something new up. Let's run his walk-up song because he's got to get set. Here we go.
Here we go.
Mark's an otter, watch him splash, building art deco, leaves and grass, keeping fab, you land on streams, making Mark's fulfilling dreams. Don't need breaks when his builds are up, only cheers and howls from his club. So let's get pumped for the Scorpio. Mark's creations are on the show.
All right, so here we have it. Oh, is it doing that thing again?
I'll do it. I got it. I got you.
Okay. Sorry, I forgot to hit the button. It's doing that thing again.
It's doing that thing again.
It loves doing
Code
that
blue.
thing.
Code blue.
Code blue, exactly. All right.
So weird. I can add it, but then it's blank, which is so unusual.
All right. I think it's what happens is it switches back for some reason to my game capture card, which is not currently on when you do it for some reason. So there we go. Let's there we go. Sorry, we did it at the same. All right, I'll leave it alone.
That Mark.
That was
All
great.
right. We are
All right.
back to
We are back. Look.
Hideout.
Yes, and you're not going to see too much of a difference here. I did some reconfiguring of the house because my math was off, and so the back walls didn't match up. I was like, how did I ever miss this? And that actually fixed what was wrong with the roof. And so I've got to go through and do some more tiling here, but I got the roof where I wanted it. Got the math problem figured out. Did some rock work here. I've got I have a couple options. This one is can you see this? Yeah, see the dark gray rock work going here and back. I've done a lot of dark gray rock work over the years, and I was thinking about perhaps doing a more natural color. But what I realized in doing that, and you'll see this here, is the first one I went with was brown. If I can find it, and it makes the tree kind of blend in.
Yeah, I was about to say you end up hiding your bald cypress.
Exact comb over cypress.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if I could find the brown rock work, apparently I was walking around with it and put it down somewhere and can't find it. That's what happens. I've also been doing a lot of sorting. You can see all the extra crap on the tables. So anyway, trust me on that, I guess. So we didn't need to spend a lot of time on this, but here it is. And I'll talk about this till I'm blue in the face because I want to inspire people to keep trying. This was let's see. This was my first attempt at this tree.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, the elephant trunk
was this.
Wrap up.
And it turned into this. And so I do want to have a couple other trees in there. I've got another iteration of this tree somewhere too that looks like something from War of the Worlds. Oh, I don't think you've ever been able to see this because it's been the inside, but this is the rock chimney I've been working on too. I had to pull that out to fix the walls. But I really like the concept of that. I don't think anyone will be able to see it. I even have some lighting in here. I forgot I had done that. And so I started lighting in this. It's just a tap light. But I was like, oh, look, there's lights in here. Why did I do that? And I can't find that other iteration of the tree. It might have fallen into one of the boxes I was packing frantically after our last live stream. I can't believe I survived that live stream with COVID and several more hours of work to do afterwards. I can't believe I survived that week. For those of you who don't know, the week before Brickworld, the Wednesday before Brickworld, I came down with COVID. And so I had to quarantine for 5 days. The first day I was off quarantine was the day we had to go load 2 20-foot trucks, which usually we only have a 25-foot truck. But this year we got so much stuff shipped to us ahead of time from Lego that we were not going to bring back with us. We had to get a second truck. And so we put all of our merchandise in it too, the stuff that we hand out and the stuff for the raffles. And it was a lot more work loading up than we normally have to put in. Had a small army of people come help me, which is fantastic. But it was a very tiring week for many reasons. That's another reason I was so surprised that I wasn't as stressed out, that things felt so smooth. There was one night I was actually able to sleep for 11 hours. Because my body and mind were just completely exhausted. And you can kind of still see it on me. I'm sure you guys might have noticed me falling asleep a little bit, taking longer bathroom breaks tonight. My body and mind are definitely recuperating better than they did last year, even though I am clearly spent at the moment. I can't even find it. This is so aggravating. Anyway, it's less aggravating than it is just hilarious, because this is kind of how my life goes down here. I'm sure I'll find it as soon as I turn the lights on tonight after the stream.
Yeah.
But there we have it.
And I know
where we're going next.
Sort of the big change from part of last year, and we did see it this way briefly before, was that you can see all the black bits in front there. You had the dock up much higher. We've sort of sunk it down a little more so that it's kind of more going into the swamp a little more quickly.
Yes.
So that's part of the design. And then, of course, the big thing is the beautiful lime green with the interesting window shape going to one of Mark's favorite colors, the lavender.
Yes, the lavenders
for the roof.
Yeah, and that's the other thing was when I was reconfiguring the walls, just finding black pieces is still very difficult after the big black boat we built a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so Al asks, is that dark blue or black? It is black this time.
It is black, yes. I kind of wish it was dark blue.
Yes.
Because I've got a ton of those pieces now. I bought so many on Pick-a-Brick. And then the other thing that, as I've been sorting, I found that I may work on this year. I think I have my work cut out for me between our collaborative and your and my collaborative, the Eurobricks collaborative, the Mark and Ben collaborative, or the Kraken Knights and the Griffin Knights. And then the collaborative I'm going to bring up tonight for the Tainted and Clive's Hideout. I think one of my thoughts at one point was to bring the Orchard back up on the table and try to get that done for this year. But just logistics alone for bringing that much stuff to Brickworld for me. Now, granted, I live 45 minutes from the facility, from the venue, I mean, so I should be able to get it. But I did find this that we worked on the stream.
Oh, yes.
And I was like, I remember doing this. This is part of one of the tutorial videos I did on how to build rockwork into a facade. And then the Tainted didn't like this very much, so I've never gone back to reconfigure the initial second story I built for this. I got the math wrong on it, but the overhang was a little crazy. So I've got a couple things here that are like partially started, and I can't really, that all just came apart. But so I've got a couple things around that I have for options, and I think I will tackle Clive's first and see what month it is when I'm done with it and see what else I can get done.
Yeah,
Sounds
I mean,
about right.
that's always part of it, is like probably my favorite things this year that I brought to Brickworld ALF. I did all of them in the last like month and a half.
Okay.
And it's not like the other things weren't okay. And I'd had to do some groundwork for the computer, and I had to do some groundwork for the big spinning castle.
Yes.
Like the things I liked the most were the last 3 things I did. And so people would say, like, how long did it take you to build the big spinning castle? And I'm like, I don't have a concept. Like, that was so long ago in my mind, 4 builds ago. I'm like, I don't know, 4 months? No idea. And they're like, oh, how about this dragon? I'm like, oh, that I did in a week and a half or whatever. Like, that's the only one I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ben shows us the head of the dragon, and everybody's like, oh, is he going to have it done for the show? I'm like, yes, because he's Ben.
Give him
have
a
that
day.
one done. So that one was, I think you do need to be like, I've got to see how long this takes me, and then decide if I can do more.
100%. Because I mean, if you even just look at the edges of that, polishing that, turning that into a hexagon, might be a good idea, but also
Ooh.
really making sure that I space out my work this year so that it doesn't take me 2 years before I'm able to bring my next build. Golden Dragon Film says, Yo came back after 2 months. Thanks for joining us again. Looks sick. Thank you. We got another ooh from General Tron's Bricks tonight. Durs Brick says, Hi, Mark. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Ben, you're going to have to help me on this one. Quick question. What's the best way to join collabs? So far, I've really only been using the Brickworld Discord to see what's open. Okay, so collabs. Ben and I have worked on a very successful successful collaborative group for several years, and we went through many iterations of that. We were not always successful, and we didn't necessarily work well together at first. And it's been a vastly shifting group of people.
Yeah.
We met in an online forum called Eurobricks, and the group now is pretty consistent. We've got people in and out of it. Brick Dad Builds is joining us this year. And Brick Dad Builds is a perfect example because he's gotten to know us over the years. He's seen our work and he knows the people in our group. And so now he's asked to join in that way. And collaborating, here's what I'll say, and then I want to hear what Ben has to say. My big thing for collaboration is like you might be really good friends with somebody at Brickworld and enjoy spending time with them, and then join a collaboration with them and realize that you don't necessarily like working with them. It's kind of like
Very true. Yeah.
it has to be the right personalities to work with. And then there's always like the touch and go timing of things. So if you're finding that you're working with a group that's really excited about something, but you're rolling around April and nobody's shown any work and things aren't cohesive and like there's not necessarily leadership, or there is leadership but people aren't necessarily following it, it's kind of like it can really, if you join a collaboration without knowing the people or how you work with the people, it has the potential to make Brickworld any show less fun for you. Because you're feeling like you're putting work in that isn't being matched and isn't going to live up to the potential of the time that you're dedicating to it. So it's a very, very, there's no easy way to join a collaborative, I guess is my point. And so I'm going to offer the Tainted to join a collaboration tonight. And I put some thought into how to do it, to get a group of people together from all walks of life all over the world to collaborate in this way. So ours, the one I'm going to suggest is going to be very different. You'll see why, or this is why. I've set it up the way I have, which you'll see when we get to that segment. Thoughts from you guys on this?
Well, okay, so the Eurobricks collab, I have both a collab success story and then a couple of fails so that you can know that sometimes it doesn't go like the way you want. I would say one of the biggest things for the Eurobricks collab is, one, we're friends, which is helpful.
Yes.
Second of all, we have a place where we can post things together. Discord might be it for you. For us, it was the Eurobricks forum. We might be trying something else a little different this time.
We meet once a week.
We would meet. It wasn't not once a week, but we would meet intermittently and discuss where we were with things. And that was a key thing, if everybody had to build something that needed to be piled on top of or next to something else. If it was some of our other collabs, kind of what we did is we just kind of let people do what they wanted and had a spot for them. Really, all you needed was the dimensions and nothing else. Like it wasn't associated or needing to be connected or have something stacked on top of something else. So one year we did a bunch of life-sized medieval replica things that we put in a tent. And for that,
the
for
potion
example,
shop.
the potion shop, what you built didn't necessarily have to stack on top of what somebody else built. So we didn't need grids and modules and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
We did some collaboratives where that was necessary though. And so when we did those, we would meet people who were able to come would. I would also say that we were very fortunate that one of the best builders that comes to Brickworld, Mr. Tim Lighty, would kind of take over responsibility for leading and making sure we got things done. He never really was overly demanding, but he would check in. And I think the other thing that he did is he would lean on a few builders that he could count on to do things that needed to happen.
Yeah.
And then sort of the other stuff, if it did or didn't happen, we could kind of, make it occur at the show. So for example, when we built Oasis, which had a large mountain front on one side, he made sure that people who were more local or he knew had large brick collections built the mountain faces because those were obviously very tall and other things. So I did one, Mark did one, Tim did one. Mine ended up only being 2/3 of the way up because my basement flooded. Mark's had a similar story. So I had to build some of it on site, but I got like the majority of the part that we needed and made sure everything matched up with, you know, the layers and everything with Tim's to do that. So, you know, if you kind of got this core group that can do the absolute structural part together,
Yeah.
That's great.
That's huge. We did that with the Potion Shop and Tree of Worlds. Like we had local people and did project support. And so we'd get together at Tim's house and build those bigger structural parts together. Like the tent he's talking about in the Potion Shop was all built on Lego tent poles. And so then we put fabric over them. Maria actually sewed a tent.
She did.
For
That
us.
was her introduction to Lego, was sewing a tent for us for Potion Shop. It's just crazy.
Just so you guys know, I'm actually in the basement flooded club as well.
Oh,
It was 2 years ago.
Oh,
So-
geez. It's just kind of like what happens in the Midwest, upper Midwest.
Oh yeah.
It's
The,
like
the sump,
it was all
the sump pump
swampland.
can't keep up with it or something like that, and you know you get an excessive amount of water all at one time, and
100%.
yeah. So
So I guess ultimately this is what I would say. If you're working with a group that maybe you haven't worked with before, do something where if someone doesn't bring their individual part, it doesn't destroy the whole build.
Or
after a while,
or the feel of the group.
Right. Well, okay. I don't know if
I
that's
actually
directed at
tackled
anyone.
a collaboration this year with my lug.
Yeah, how was that?
It was with 3 other people with
Nice.
Fox Lug, and went well. For us with the collaboration, because we did a zoo/adventure park, which encompassed multiple areas of wildlife, from aquatics through African animals up to North America, farmland, stuff like that, and Asian section that I had. And being able to set some standards with the collaboration is vital. So for us, having sidewalks outlined of where they're supposed to be in the builds, so that sidewalks lined up, so that my plate landed up next to somebody else's, lighting, that was something we wanted to make sure that we had outlined specifically to accentuate the build for World of Lights as well, with a cohesive lights were a certain color. For street lights, those types of things, is being able to have some basics, but then each individual builder had autonomy to build what they build to then fit the build with the rest of the builders. So if that makes sense. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
It's kind of what we've tried to do too. And I think, like I said, the more we got comfortable with each other and the more we sort of knew who was definitely in and who was going to be relied upon, we could do things that were more interconnected. They just required, you know, kind of this idea that these 3 people are going to do the complicated part here and everyone else just bring your module, you know.
Something that's hard is when you do collaborations, whether you're doing a build that is essentially a standalone build that can connect to something else versus a vital part of a collaboration, where if it's missing or not completed, it's going to determine the viewing of the entire collaboration.
Yeah. And we've had that in our group in some years, and specifically years that we did not get nominated, where it was like there were certain people in our group at a certain point that were like, I don't necessarily think we need a leader. I think we should just have fun and build and bring it. And that's not the way to collaborate. There is a bit of work into it. Just didn't work. It just having one person that can lead, at least logistically, like Brick Dad Builds was just talking about, and Ben referenced as well. When we did that desert oasis, that was all different levels, and Tim made a map of exactly, and we did it by 32 by 32 base plates just to make it easy. Like this is your section. This is how high it has to be in the back. This is where it meets up in front. Now, did we get that exactly? No. but we were able to like fill in the gap. My side, like Ben was talking about his on-site building.
It depends on who you are. Yeah.
Mine was much worse. They do a lot of on-site building on my side, and I tried to follow the thing. I was like, just remember sitting there going blind, looking at the pictures of the sides of Tim's, going like, why doesn't this match? And I'm like, I'm just going to go up and we can fix it on site. I think we fixed it with a giant Duplo vine. We're like, look, there's just a giant jungle plant growing up the side of this mountain.
That's something that people need to be aware of too. Is it can be very intimidating when you have different levels of builders. That
100%.
Other builders are like, I may think I'm a lower level builder, where I've got two other people in this live that are, hey man, you're a good builder and we want you to build with us. And I'm like, that imposter syndrome thing kicking in, going, no, I'm not good enough to build with you guys. I'm going to look like I'm a Duplo block with all of your Technic stuff. And, so, but being able to get into a collaboration will increase your build abilities.
Yes.
By collaborating and, working back and forth with other builders on your skill levels.
100%. 100% that. Yes. I remember.
I will tell you, the last one we did, first
I was going to bring this up.
This one was great fun. I will say that my favorite modules in that thing were built by people who've never been nominated for Brickworld Master, probably have never been nominated for an individual award, who just absolutely killed it. It was just like the perfect thing for them. They got it and just built like amazing things. There were 3 or 4 rooms in there that were so much better than what I did. Like my favorite rooms by far. And, they're not people who I would instantly be like, yes, this person should be nominated for Brickworld Master this year. They're still great builders. Everyone in our group is great. But they were blowing everything I did out of the water. It was, 6 times better than what I did.
He's referring to our Scala Mystery Murder Mansion.
Yeah.
And it was, so we did a Scala scale, like, which is the Lego Barbie doll size figures.
It was substantial.
Oh my Lord. And it was, and so like everything was scaled way up. And like we had to work to make sure that the chimneys matched up. Somebody forgot that there was a chimney, so there was a huge gap in the chimney. We had to fill.
That in.
Yep. And the and Tim certainly had to work with us to make sure everything was fitting together on that. And the my mind just went blank.
Some of the rooms there were just crazy. There was a creepy doll room that was just
terrifying.
Awesome. There was
just builds though. It was mechanical as well. You had a chandelier that went up and down, and there was lights, there was everything. So it being able to encompass all of that into a collaboration is phenomenal.
There was a Pepper's Ghost in it as well.
There was a Pepper's Ghost in it.
And Jacob Schilling was part of our group from Lego Masters, and he designed the window for the front that,
It was Caleb who did the windows.
Caleb. Why do I always do that? It was Caleb who did the windows. I remember getting the file and going like, why is this window so complicated?
Why is this window so crazy?
Pieces. Yeah. But it certainly like changed, it introduced me to pieces I didn't know existed in the first place, and great ways to use them. I'm like, oh, that's why they made this silly Technic brick with a permanent half stud, half pin, the 1x2 brick with the hollow stud in the center, side stud in the center. Orion needs attention at the moment. Let's catch up on some of these comments. General Tron Brick says, I love medieval builds. Thank you. It's more of a swamp build, but okay. Elgoff says, I found 4 dark blue curved bottom half in our club part swap that I grabbed. If you want them, thank you. Absolutely. I would love that. I'm going to see you in Indianapolis this year. Friday Night Brick says, make friends with people with the same interests. That could certainly help. I think our group, Ben, like we've got similar sense of humor.
Yeah, I think that's probably our better mesh is we like the silly and whimsical, but like we're not all necessarily castle builders or space builders or whatever. We adapt, I guess, to what we want to do.
I agree with that, but I also disagree. That was one of the reasons that I'm in Foxlug now, is because what I build and my style of building and all that was something that was unique to the lug. And they actually wanted to bring me in because it was something different that we could share. So, we have Dominic that does a lot of mechanical builds and stuff like that. Like he wins the robotic RC competitions every year because he's that strong with what he does. He's just
so smart.
That's solid.
I love that whole family.
Scott and Jennifer, their builds and their build styles is completely different. And then Kevin, and it goes on and on through our lug with different styles of stuff like that. Steve Polda, his Marvel builds of his detail in those builds are phenomenal. So, it's being able to bring everybody in to a fold. You don't necessarily have to have the same shared interests, other than being able to collaborate and share your ideas
Yeah.
and be receptive to that.
So
100%.
Steve,
It definitely helps.
so all those people in Fox Lug I love. Jennifer and Scott.
Mhm.
Kevin obviously builds with us at Eurobricks.
Yeah.
I love Jennifer and Scott. I love Scott's energy. They brought some of the cutest things to Holiday Joy. They were nominated as a pair for Brickworld Master this year. They are both very lovely. But Steve, I want to talk about for a second, because Steve plays on Critical Bricks on Fridays, and I always go in and like to goof around with them. Sometimes I listen while I'm building, and so I would always go in. He plays a bard character on Critical Bricks, and every week I go in and the first thing I say is kill the bard, because that's like, a D&D thing that you shout is kill the bard. So I met him this year at Brickworld. He had no idea that I actually built anything. He just thought like I just trolled the chat. That's all I did. So it was really fun to meet him.
Skill. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it was really fun to meet him. He had a Doctor Strange build that had a creature with an eyeball in it. It's from one of the movies, obviously. The eyeball on that creature was awesome. Just awesome.
His build was titled Wedding Crashers. It's a scene from the movie Doctor Strange where he jumps off the balcony when he's at his ex's wedding to go and battle this monster that's just come through the dimensional portal. And he throws
splits a bus in half.
A fire ring through a bus. So Steve literally built a bus in half on two halves.
Yep.
With the fire ring going towards this creature. It's a phenomenal build. He did Into the Spider-Verse last year, which was all of the off-camber spider buildings and all of that.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, Steve, and he's a very introvert type person like Ben is. And this he's fairly new to the lug, but definitely not new to building. And he was like, this is the first year where he's actually built and felt recognized and accepted and a part of everything, where he said, previously he felt like an outsider. He was like, where do I fit? Where do I do? So he's like, for people that want to know, where do I fit? Sometimes you won't necessarily feel that at first until you start getting into the build and get to know people. So 100%. It's a hard thing of you're an introvert, then you don't want to know people, but at the same time, that's where you're going to fit. So,
yeah. And then the last thing on collaborating for me, we've had a number of fails for various reasons. No Leader was one. The other one for me is New Hashima. I was invited to build something for it, and I agreed, and I wanted to, but they did all of their planning on Discord, and for some reason, I don't get Discord. I still don't. I need to learn. I know I need to learn. This is 100% true. But I was preparing to build this, but they had all kinds of messages in Discord about what we were building, and I just had an assigned thing. I didn't need to build a city block. But I came in, after a couple months and said, hey, am I still slated to build this? And they basically said, no, we found someone else to do it because
you weren't on Discord.
Weren't on the right Discord server.
You weren't answering.
And I was like, it's got, that's
Text
the other
me.
thing. If you guys are using, I'm like, there are other ways to get a hold of me. And the person who was like bringing me into this, knows me. They could have done more communication, but they probably didn't feel it was necessary. If I'm not doing my part by learning Discord, then I'm not doing my part.
Yeah, with that many people, it's like herding cats trying to get, if you have to check Discord and text and emails and some other forum and your Instagram messages, trust me, I get it on that, why that happened to you. Some more comments here. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you hadn't reached your point yet.
So there's Brick says, happy to teach you a Discord. All I'm really
I can too. You and I can do that on one of our calls for sure.
That'd be great. Someone teach me Discord. Because really, that's, I guess, is if you're going to use a method of communication, make sure everybody's bought in and actually checks it and does it.
Yeah, run a tutorial on it for those who really want to be part of it and don't understand it, because technology can certainly be a learning curve, and communication is difficult when you don't all live in the same city, aren't already part of the same lug. Durs Brick says that is how the Fallout build started. Just a bunch of Fallout fans coming together. That worked out well. They won this year for best collaborative. Personalities got a match, work ethic as well. Durs Brick also says that's very fair. Fallout was the first collab I ever led. Nice job, by the way.
Yeah.
There were some growing pains as we got close. I'm still very proud of how we showed up, though. Yeah, you should be. Alphonse says Fallout was crazy. Good work. Lou says the school partner paradox. You think having your best friend as your project partner will always work out. Yep. General Towns Bricks also says me and my cousin kind of bounced off each other rather than work together. He builds something, then I one up it, then he ups it. We were good for eventually coming up with a good build just by bouncing off each other's ideas. That worked out great then. If that's how you guys work together, then keep at it, because that sounds great. George Bricks also says this is all great knowledge. Thank you so much. You're welcome. Elgoff says I challenged Tim to build something for Brickworld Indie next year. Nice. Liam Brick the Bed is here. Thanks for joining us tonight. Says, how was After Dark with all the lit up mocks this year compared to last year? There was a lot of light in the room.
It's always good.
Yeah, I don't really know how to compare the two.
Yeah. I'm not sure I've ever been disappointed.
Agreed. Alphonse Sue Person says, yeah, go for it.
Go ahead.
You go
I was
ahead.
just going to say it was different in respect to the vertical height of builds was different this year.
Yeah.
We had a lot lower, more laid out plans this year, which still had tons and tons of light. But something I noticed was last year we had a lot more vertical builds that had a lot more light that were projecting in different directions, stuff like that. So I wouldn't say it was less light or more light, but I would say it was definitely a different light just by layout.
Yeah.
Like being in the Midwest versus being in a city with tall buildings, the light layout is just so different and unique. So just my perception of it.
Yeah.
So
it's always cool what people come up with, and there's always something to see in the dark. There are definitely builders who hide something to wow you in the dark, and it happens.
Yeah, 100%. Alphonse Sue Person says tips and bricks. Simple putt this year was simple, collab, and fun. Very much so. Dave Shefsick did a really cool use of color mosaic where it was different at night with the way the black light was hitting it, and like it looked like a completely different mock every time the color changed. Like the color changed
rose,
over it.
The flower one.
I don't even remember what it was a picture of. I thought it was maybe a person holding a flower. I've got it in my files for tonight, so we'll take a look at it. Lou says, I learned great lessons from working in the writer's room collaborations at Second City. Shared responsibility, clear expectations, open communication, trust, and accountability. That's a great list, 100%. And if you have that with the group, stick with them. Lewis says, each person in the group had to check in weekly with other people to make sure the deadlines were getting met. Yes. Like I said, Tim chases me every year. We do a collaboration together. George Brick says, Ben, happy to give you. We already got that one. Liam Brick the Bed says, I struggle with Discord.
See,
George
not the only one.
There's nothing will ever top New Hashima being the centerpiece. What a first Brickworld to be at. Yeah, no kidding. That thing was crazy. Alphonse says, I had the pleasure of being next to some awesome people with the tiki mask. Oh, yes. I was thinking of that when Brick Dad Build said that, because that was a nice surprise, the way the light hit it at night. And Nikki from Lego Masters was with them and a preteen with his family with Tower. He got a nomination. It was an awesome time. Reed loves the dark. And General John Bricks also says, my cousin has long since retired from mocks, so bouncing off my own ideas goes a lot slower. Oh, okay. I thought you were saying that happened this year. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's only one person in this entire world that I know I couldn't collaborate with, and I'm married to her. So
yeah.
She is the greatest person I know. I could not work with her on a build.
Yeah.
It would never work.
I would not be able to collaborate with her either.
2 kids.
I know. We can collaborate on children just fine. Maybe the difference is with the kids, I put her in charge. If we were doing a mock, I'd kind of feel responsible, like I should be in charge, and that might get messy.
Yeah. I was just joking, by the way. If you heard what I said, I wouldn't be able to collaborate with Matt. There's no way. There's no way.
Oh.
So Alphonse says, I'll DM on Instagram and I'll show you Discord basics.
It's how bad I am. I need help from everybody.
Rob Claxton says, I know the cast collab I've done. I've seen some stuff on my side of the collab that needed to be fixed, in which I'm redoing it now before a show in October. Yeah, that'll happen.
And I still have problems on Discord too. So I'm on there and I have some concept of how it works, but I get lost on things and trying to find threads and channels and stuff like that. And yeah.
I am a channel administrator and I still get lost sometimes. It's not quite as intuitive as Slack was, and we used it to replace Slack because Slack started charging $7 a month per user where it used to be free. I was like, no, we're not doing that. Alphonse says, what are the volunteers doing Tuesday beyond tables and gift bags, like the show sets, others, if we wanted to help out next year? So the show sets happen months before the show at someone's house. As we know, the last couple of years in a row, we've had some trouble with some missing pieces from those sets. The GBC has it down. GBC happens in Fort Wayne. Brian and his group get together, and they're pretty efficient with it. I should send the event set stuff with them. But our group here, we use a bunch of people from Windy City Lug, and they'll get it down. They're a great group. They do a lot for us. And we'll start earlier this year so that we can test build some. We weigh them to make sure they all weigh the same. But if they're all missing the same pieces, they all weigh the same. So we'll figure it out eventually. It's lots of learning curves with running this business and lots of moving parts to it. So that is unfortunate because I hate shipping things. And I'm the one who has the extra pieces. So I've got to go get them out, get the list of people who need them, and get them shipped out. Not fun for me. It's my least favorite thing to do. I don't know why I'm post office adverse, but I just am.
You know what else I want to mention just randomly? I just noticed this. The O in Brickworld on the trophies this year.
Yeah.
Is the Brickworld logo.
Yes, which is how the logo should appear. And for some reason on previous years, we were just like, oh, it's too hard on the trophy. Let's just make it say Brickworld. And I was like, you know what? No, I know how to set an engraving file.
Yeah.
We're going to make the logo, the actual logo, because that's how I have it.
Super cool.
Thank you. That's how thank you for noticing that. That's how I have it. That's how I have it trademarked. I have it trademarked with the logo as the O. And that's the entire logo. And that's why it has a registered trademark symbol at the end, because I have registered it. And now the Brickles should be done soon, too. We should be able to put the registered trademark on the Brickle soon.
Sweet.
Which is something Alex has been wanting. And he says, what Ben doesn't know is I sent him a Discord message to see how long it takes for him to find it.
For maybe a year. Right. I got like 6 people who are going to coach me, so I'll find it,
Alex.
But,
and Alphonse, I'm sorry. What we should probably add Tuesday to the volunteer list because so many people are there, and we certainly could use help with stuff. And so like Tim and Crystal were like, "Do you need stuff?" I was like, "Get your butts over here now, and we'll put you to work for sure." So it's a little bit easier to we do have a small army of people doing stuff, but we can always use more, especially when it comes to chalking the floor and setting up the tables and the tablecloths. If you look at the time lapse, there's a small army of people doing it already, but we can always use more help with that. The faster it gets done and the easier it is on our logistics managers because they're in their 60s now and they're on their feet all week, walking more than 8 miles and not really going anywhere except for the Renaissance. So yeah, definitely get that in the Tuesday on the volunteer sheet because so many people are there already. Hawkeye says, excited for the trademarks. Me too. Absolutely. Your first trademarked character, Alex. Congratulations. And they are really great. People do like them. I think they're a great representation of the show. And we have a new way to create them, so we don't have to just sell one a year. We can get more of them produced, and there's more characters to name because they can be made in more colors now. Awesome. So we'll have to add to the family.
Brittle's my favorite.
Brittle.
The poor brown. But they've replaced the brown now, so maybe we'll have to make one in the new reddish brown, if that's what they're going to call it, and give him some different name.
So we've got Brittle ready to go. We didn't sell him this year because we're going to try to find a different way to get Brittle out in the world, and that announcement is forthcoming. Okay. But Brittle is the next one we'll do. All right. We had Trouble, I think, this year. We've had Trouble, Trickle. Yeah, I think it was
Trickle. Yeah, you did the blue one, and then you did the
Sparkle or Wishful. Wishful was last year.
Okay. And now I have a blue one, and I think I have a flamish yellow-orange one,
which is Wishful. Okay. And then this year was Trouble, the lime green, and we've got Brittle ready to go. Right. Alphonse says, have issues with stamina, so don't think I could do tables, but yep, was thinking I could help out that way. Yeah, absolutely. And there's other stuff going on besides so we're not putting up the tables. We're just chalking the floor. For the people who are setting up the tables and the tablecloths, there is quite a bit of physical work with the tablecloths. You are walking around for a long time, and you're kind of moving tables around. But there's other stuff we can have you doing. Oh, yeah. We definitely need the help. So yeah, there we go. That's Mox for the evening. Lou says, "Will it actually be made out of the brittle brown pieces? Who knows? I think they should be newer pieces, but we're getting them through Canada First Bricks now, and they have a giant." A giant warehouse full of pieces. There's no guarantee they're not brittle, I guess. And we didn't check first. Our plans online for them, so you can build your own and do some mocks on them. I could certainly do that.
If you
Wouldn't be
have
a problem.
one, they're, all pretty much the same. So you can reverse engineer them without too much effort.
100%.
Yes.
Reed says his left heel might be better by next year. What happened to your heel? Still sore a week later. Oh, okay. Paige says, yep, trouble the lime green. Thank you. People love the fact that they had to build it themselves this year. Good. So far, trickle, wishful, trouble, brittle.
Yeah.
But brittle is in boxes in my storage, so we did not bring it to the show. I brought a couple to put in the auction, one of which didn't make it in because that shit always happens.
Yeah. So our next topic, one thing we always talk about every week, and of course we knew we were going to run super long this week, and we still are, is Lego news, and we have some. So let's bring up
like one single piece of news. And thank you, Lego, for not releasing a lot of news this week so that we can make this as short a stream as could possibly be.
Piece of news.
Is it really? I looked and I
there's
didn't really
only
see
one
anything.
there's only one that we're going to do a deeper dive in, and that would be, of course, M for Mustang. So
yeah, which is
coming
this is
out-
cute. I actually really like this.
Yeah, coming out July 4th. So very American. We have this blue Shelby Cobra Mustang. They've done a Mustang before. It was also similar in color, but did not look like this one. I want to say this one I love. I love the shaping on this one.
Me too.
Brick Dad, are you a car guy?
I am a little bit. This definitely embodies the Shelby Cobra that was actually made. So it's a great rendering of it. Yeah, the roll bar in itself, the hood scoop, the fender curves that it has is great. That air intake at the very front of the hood is an embodiment of it. So yeah, no, it's a great model of it. So yeah, I like it. I'm not that big into the car as in collection side, but yeah, I definitely see the value in this.
Yeah, great time for them to come with a lot of curves in dark blue, right? When
I would be half tempted to get this to turn it into a RC for Brickworld Parade.
Ooh,
just for that reason alone, just to do a car show parade with an RC car like that.
Yeah,
it's got a bit of an engine in it with some display model. Of course, a lot of people were geeking out over the golden sausage / hot dogs on the front.
Yeah. Fun times.
We got a lot of good angles on this thing. It looks like it has some sort of signature on the glove compartment there. Probably the
Shelby
signature. Got a toolbox in the back and a trophy.
Kind of cool.
So I got some stuff in the trunk. And of course, we've got lifestyle.
It is an entire wall of books turned around.
Of course it is. Why wouldn't it be? And look at that. Look at that lamp. Brick Dad, where's the detective skills? You got to find us that lamp. Oh my goodness.
Look up carved wood War of the Worlds lamp. I think you'll find it.
We got an orb in the back.
We got a fern in the foreground.
We got all the things.
We've got a cement wall with a wood burning stove in it.
It's like a fireplace in the middle of the room.
That's got to be a gas stove.
Okay.
So there it is, next to a speaker and a dead plant on top of some boring boxes.
Dead plant necessary. Postmodern chimney cameo in the background. Nate Dog Hobby says, love the color combo and the realistic angles. Probably my favorite of the Icon cars released to date, which Generaltown Bricks agrees with you. Generaltown Bricks also says, because AI doesn't need to know what book is what. I don't think that's AI. I think they seem to just do that in their studios, turn all the books around. Is that a green ball?
It looks like some sort of orb in the back there.
They're just afraid of having potentially offensive titles on books. I don't know.
Yeah, why do they have the $100 bill on the dashboard?
Well, are they in Vegas?
I don't know. Okay, there we go. Next to an old record player and a pile of newspapers.
Flowers growing out of the record player? That's what I don't understand.
It's a great question.
Pile of newspapers.
Just so you guys are aware, that's an ambience table lamp. It's available in multiple colors.
There it is.
Oh my God, that's totally
We found it, as always. Brick Dad nailing the table lamp. Look at that thing. They don't have the ugly orange one that they had up on here, though.
Yeah.
So
They
so
are
there we have it.
clearancing them. There's a 5% discount on them right now. But they
And-
sell for $287.90
Jesus.
currently. So
The
Jesus.
cheese, the
You
cheese
can
grater
buy-
lamp was also on clearance. It's like they're buying clearance lamps for their set decoration. Makes sense,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
and
I can-
$250 and
right? I get why they do it, but for a long time they were just doing small stacks of books that had blank binders, and now they're trying to put bookshelves in every shot.
Yeah.
So they
Like,
don't want
books
to
are
buy all
hot
these
right
blank
now.
books. So they just turn them all around. It's so
they're more
distracting to me.
sophisticated.
Stick-
If you don't know how to put a book on a bookshelf, this set is for you. It's kind of like how every set's coming
Yeah.
out. General
Stick
Tom-
some of those book nooks up there, you know?
Yes.
Like-
General Tom's Brick says, got to pay that toll, and yup, inflation. Lou says more propaganda lifestyle pictures from Skynet.
Yeah.
How is this from Skynet?
What's this thing up here that looks like it has blue post-it notes on it? No, why are you putting post-it notes way up there?
That high on the wall. Brick says the $100 bill is for buying the lamp.
It could be. It's what you need is because you could buy two pretty much of this Shelby Cobra. I think it's $160 coming out July 4th. Let me double check that price and that piece count for you. $160 July 4th, 1,241 pieces. There's the table.
There's the table. Oh my God. How do you
Yeah.
do this? That table that you put right in the middle of your living room, because that's how
Yeah.
coffee tables work. No, you need a
Should tell
desk
us,
table.
though, might not be AI because they've got, well, you know, we don't think it is, but you can actually find the furniture they use.
Yeah.
It's just all stupid furniture. It's way overpriced. So the price
Yes,
the part's
this
not
is one
great
of my
on this,
savant
but the
talents,
design
you know,
is
Yes.
great. It
100%
certainly
it is.
Yeah, price to parts so on this, but the model is beautiful. No minifigures though. I know a lot of people say no mini, no buy, right?
There's no figgy,
So-
no buy.
No figure, no buy.
Lou points out that there's one picture that the human model is staring at his hand and not the set.
Well, let's look.
You know, this would
Okay.
have been a perfect set to have a Carol Shelby minifig with, but
Carol Shelby? Who's that?
he's the designer.
Oh,
of the
sorry,
Shelby
sorry.
Mustang.
Cobra.
Oh, duh. Sorry. But yeah, this does look like a plastic person.
Yeah.
They're like, let's quick make a wax mannequin of this actor. He does not look real. Nate Dogg says it's probably because the real car costs close to 100,000 in pristine condition. Al Goss says Mustang is my favorite car ever, but I only have the small bullet build.
Oh, am I in trouble there? Okay.
You were frozen for a second, yes,
All right.
but you're back.
Yeah. Oh, good. Oh, good. Yeah. Why? I hate this thing. It's like, hey, your connection's fairly good, and then your connection's slow. Try getting closer to your router. I'm like, I'm wired. It's
I know. I get the same thing.
It's such nonsense.
I just have
Total
terrible
nonsense.
service. Mine's normal.
Right.
So yeah, lots of good little part usages in here. It's a beautiful
Great
model.
detail.
I don't know how I get, but that's all right.
Alphonse says it should come with a Matt Damon minifig.
Very true.
Okay.
He played Carol Shelby in the movie.
All right. In the Ford versus Ferrari movie. Yeah. So there it is.
That face.
It's an absolutely beautiful car. Mark said that's the only news we have this week. Not quite true. We also had the Jane Austen
Oh yeah!
gift with purchase set.
Hooray!
It's a very beautiful model.
It is.
I think Brick Dad's going to get his. So here it is.
Look at this, Ben. There's Brick says, "Is it bad that I want Lego to make normal cars that everyday people drive? Where's my Lego 2006 Toyota Camry?"
Where is it? Yeah,
Rebrickable.
it's probably in the back of somebody's 2006 Toyota Camry in pieces. So anyway, they had this one. It was gift with purchase. It seems to be fairly popular. Brick Dad Builds has one there. It's a very
Seen it.
lovely looking build.
It's got 3 displays in there, the tiles, and I believe each of those are representative of scenes from books
One of her books, yeah.
that were actually in
Okay.
that she actually wrote. So
Pride and Prejudice and what other the other things she wrote. I know there was a listing somewhere. People knew what they were.
I would like to
but-
say I know, but I'm not literate. So
Yeah.
Smoky Smokes points out that Lego doesn't want to pay for the licensing and trademarks for those books. Exactly. Algoff says sometimes they would put a bill on the dash to see if you can grab it when you stomp the gas. Okay. Alphonse says they timed the GWP double Lego points to be post Brickworld, so the
Yes.
Schomburg store didn't have to give out hundreds for Pick-a-Brick cups. Lego should try a patina look.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
So maybe, I don't know. As well, I don't know.
Perhaps.
So double points. The other thing to mention on these, I have one of these because I bought the Book Nook.
Why is this 18 plus?
I have no idea.
Because I heard naughty themes.
Maybe
in
the
her
themes
dirty
of the
books.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
They talk about the men's ankles.
They didn't ask me how old I was when they gave it to me, though. So they apparently either thought I was over 18 or
you didn't get carded.
Yeah, they're not doing a good job of carding people.
Mm-mm.
So double points. I ordered some Pick-a-Brick as well. So hopefully that'll come soon. The other thing to mention is ideas. They have announced their 2 winners, and one of the big ones was Godzilla. That seems to be a monster or a theme or idea that people really want to do in Lego a lot.
Yeah.
So now they are going to do one, and here he is.
I want to see it in a new Hashima.
Yeah, we had one at Brickworld this year. We had a giant Godzilla lizardy guy. It was actually the guy in the lizard suit, like a mega fig build versus a robot or whatever it was. So it's kind of has a Brickworld tie this year too. But Godzilla was one, and then this Tintin rocket was the other.
General John's Brick says maybe that lifestyle shot was all Jane Austen books turned around. Who says, is there any news about Lego specials trying to compete with Prime Days coming up? Well, I don't know.
I haven't heard anything specific about that.
Probably want to sell a lot of Lego on during Prime
Nothing
Day.
current, Lou. Nothing current, but we'll keep you posted.
So there it is. So
we got ears to the ground on that.
There's Godzilla. We'll see how he turns out. Obviously, this tells me that you can get 10,000 votes, even if your photography isn't wonderful, because we just got some paper taped together back here to hide whatever this was behind.
Yeah, I'm still fighting for votes on my idea, but I'm consigned because I actually spoke with Bricklink with Alex and talked about the IP for that art print, and he says he says it's possible, but the IP on it would have to be worked out in detail for that, because it is one that other people have access to that IP. So it's whether or not Lego would actually want to approach that or not would be in question. So I'm not worried about that, but that's the whole thing, is getting ideas out on Lego Ideas.
Yeah.
As well as for the Bricklink Designer Program.
Post your the link to your project in the chat, please. We can bring it up here on stream too. Hawkeye Lego Man says, off topic, did anyone notice the large amount of giraffe mocks this year? I saw 2. Were there more than that? I mean, I didn't see a lot of the floor, unfortunately.
Saw one really big one.
There's the Rolden Graces was amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's had 2 good years where he's brought like a real spectacular build.
Yeah.
Definitely a great builder. So this one they put in the parking lot, in air quotes. It's a camping scene. I heard, I tuned into London Calling this week between meetings. I didn't get to watch the entire show, but they did bring this one up, and I had the same question they did, which is, this particular set exists. There's also a Bricklink Designer camping set that's very similar. So
yeah,
like, how are they going to balance that? I know it's 2 different sort of, wings to the whole Lego world. We've got Bricklink Designer Program, which isn't exactly Lego, but it's, Lego adjacent. Lego owns Bricklink.
Yeah.
Ideas also sort of Lego adjacent, in that who designs them and how they come up with these.
Man, people love camping sets, though.
Yeah, 2 very similar camping sets.
And it's not the Animal Crossing tent.
Yes, thank you. This is a very nice looking tent. So I approve of that, but it's kind of interesting that they have 2 very similar sets.
Yeah.
Up for that. So you can catch London Calling. They had the Bricklink Designer Program lead, who was also at Brickworld.
Yeah.
On to do some chatting. I don't think they talked about this. I think it was after he left that they got to this.
Yeah, that's a great
good question.
stream to follow because they do deep dives on the Bricklink Designer Program and Lego Ideas, which not a lot of streams do. London Calling, look for it on YouTube, Instagram. Greg, the guy who runs it, is a great guy.
Yeah, I got to meet Greg at Brickworld. We took a
not-
picture together.
These are not Animal Crossing trees, that's for damn sure. Much
And
better
I-
than the Animal Crossing trees.
I think I'm going to go on London Calling sometime in August.
Nice, good. I
So-
told him he should talk to you.
Yeah. And then speaking of Bricklink Designer Program, announced at Brickworld Chicago,
I missed it.
we're the sets
Nice.
for Bricklink Designer Series 8.
That's beautiful.
So there were several in here. I think all of
Really
these
nicely
were
done on the
bangers,
shaping.
quite honestly.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. So this is a 1,400 piece locomotive. So it's definitely not your typical train. This is definitely using a
It's
lot
a
more
beautiful
pieces.
build. I actually had the opportunity to go in and play around with these a little bit, look at
nice.
their build and stuff like that. And they're fun. Every one of these builds is an amazing build. So
Yeah.
the train
Awesome.
itself, I actually talked to Alex about this and asked if this was possibly part of a series. And he says, unfortunately, he couldn't say if there was an additional car or two that would be associated with this. If it was, it would have to be a separate submission. So if people are interested in this engine, to go to the designer program and actually search the creator and see if there are other possible submissions that the creator has as well.
Yeah.
Alphonse says the Bricklink sessions at 9 a.m. were great. The deep dive sessions with Bricklink staff was great. Was able to hold the train and get up close with Dustmark.
Nice. We'll get to Dustmark here in a minute.
Durs Brick says I got to see the hot air balloon up close. They were ironically, taking lifestyle shots of it in front of a mock. Looks amazing. Alphonse also says the train takes all 3 types of motors.
Yes, you can see that down here. So it doesn't come with any of the motors, but you can either motorize it with your standard train motor or a couple different other options down here. So you can see all 3 listed.
Alphonse points out that the cars were submitted. He can make them available on Rebrickable. Wow, like Seaside Market has alt builds. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, so here's Coconut Cape.
Nice.
Has some great palm trees, and then it's got like this reddish orange. No, that's not the right color. The flamish yellow orange or whatever the name of it is. Parts for the building, so it looks kind of Caribbean-ish and like that bright color.
Great roof.
So another pirate set. So they seem to be doing crazy castles and pirates almost every round now, and then a few other themes coming off of it. So here's the pirate entry this time. Absolutely gorgeous build. Definitely one I'll be interested in with the sort of classic Spanish fort type look going on.
The other set that they actually had out, the Tortuga set, it's a dollhouse style build, and this also is a dollhouse style build. So these actually pair off of each other quite well. Okay, there you go. Thanks.
You're welcome. Apparently, according to Alphonse, they said Coconut Cape was going to get the biggest redesign and how it connects and areas are accessible, as the bottom floor is a bit fiddly to get in at the moment.
Yeah. So this one you can see that it's held in with some Technic pins, and it looks like maybe it's not super easily connected, so they might have to do some changes to it.
The cannon area is actually the jail cell area too. There's some more stuff underneath, and that's completely inaccessible in its full configuration.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully they'll keep the beautiful color scheme though, and a lot of the ideas, and the great coconut trees, great palm trees in there as well.
Lou asks, do you guys know if LEGO has any preferences for idea project submissions? Do they hold non-IPs in higher regard than IPs? I actually have no idea.
That's a good question. Bricklink
Try
Designer,
to avoid IPs.
Deals with IPs at all. So if you go to IPs, you'll have to go that way, but it is more difficult.
Definitely.
So a lot of people get the votes for the IPs. That's kind of the balance you have to run on that.
We'll bring this up, but I dropped the link for Brick Dad Builds ideas project in the chat if you want to check it out in the meantime.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Durs Brick says it's crazy we haven't gotten a space set in the BDP yet. There's been some awesome submissions. I didn't realize we hadn't. Wow, this is also beautiful. Pockets
Yeah.
Master, welcome, by the way, says the Bricklink reveal was one of my favorite events at Brickworld this year. I wish I could have been there to see it happen. Alphonse says Thieves Tortuga had a massive overhaul. The bottom was solid. They took 300 bricks out of its base and changed road from 1x1s to 1x1s and 2x2s, freeing up 500 some odd pieces to go into more details. This is nice.
Yeah, so this
I
is,
really like the
of
color
course,
scheme.
This one was submitted
Just wait, Mark.
more than
Okay.
once.
Okay.
So this was actually resubmitted. It didn't pass in a previous round, and then they made some adjustments to it. What's really cool about this one, among other things, is that it is kind of a pentagon shape, and like a lot of the other castles that Lego's done, it sort of unfolds into kind of a straight line, a type deal. It's got some colors that Mark will be a big fan of, some purple in there.
Yeah. Dark
As
blue
well
roofs.
as the dark blue and the sand kind of color scheme with this thing here.
Very smart. Yeah.
So here's kind of the folded out look.
Wow. Yeah, I love the foliage on here too.
And you can see the hanging banners and the sort of the desert Middle Eastern-y vibes going through it here.
That's awesome.
This one's very, very beautiful. Got a bell tower there and a ballista.
Yeah.
So they added a few play features.
I was gonna say.
Sort of take it to the next level on this as well.
Oh, and so that's how you ring the bell, as you move that little cattle horn thing there.
Yeah, a little cattle horn down here rings the bell.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
Nice.
So lots of cool things added to this one.
Wow.
All these look lit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Probably won't happen.
There will be a disclaimer. Does not come with actual lights.
Yeah.
We haven't had disclaimers for a while. Ooh.
Here's the University of Science.
It's rather pretty.
It is indeed.
This is the massive one. This is the biggest of them.
Biggest of the ones. It's got a cool tree, cool window here with some cool techniques.
Yeah, how did they do that?
Those are hands that are all on bars that come and touch each other.
Oh, geez. Okay. What?
Like droid arms.
Yeah. I see it now. Yeah.
Some curved windows with the dinosaur tails. And they're using that tree piece that we hate.
Yes.
Good effect. They can be done tastefully and with good effect.
Yeah.
So this one's also really cool.
If you're in the slimy tongues.
Meter wide.
Ooh.
It's unfolded.
So 3 feet.
So
yeah. Let's see.
3-ish feet. Yeah. 40.3 inches.
General Tron,
you're curious. So 3 feet 4 inches.
General Tron's Brick says, depends on the IP. If Lego has access, they might do it. Otherwise, no. Alphonse says, Dustmark keeps folds out at many angles. It really can be repositioned so many ways. Each tower is on its own hinge. That's cool. Alphonse says, the windows on it with the curves are some great pieces in it. George Brick says, looks like the chapel at my university. May have to get this one just for that. General Tron's Brick says, I'm surprised in that ugly tree piece use. Me too. The slimy tongue, as we call it.
And here's the last one. This is the smallest set of the group. Hot air balloon. And
those clouds, though. Oh my God.
Those clouds, OMG. Yep. We've seen some good hot air balloons over the years at Brickworld. This is up there with them. It's really well designed. The colors are great.
Yeah, it's a great scene.
This is the hot air balloon actually sits down into a cup in the clouds. So it's not anchored in or anything. You can literally just grab the hot air balloon and lift it up out of the clouds.
Gravity. You can swoosh a hot air balloon, everybody.
It has swooshability. It was pretty cool.
You can swoosh the crap out of this thing. So then we've got some nice brick-built birds as well.
General Tron Bricks also says, but that part use does spawn an idea or two, maybe, if you bring yourself to touch them because they're gross. Joellen Child says, that's not the slimy tongue piece. Oh, you're right. The slimy tongue piece is the big one. Yeah, slimy tongue piece is the one from Dreams. That's the big ugly leaf piece. The bulb.
Yeah, the bulb.
Swish and thwip.
So those were the ones that were revealed at your show, Mark.
Yeah.
Brickworld Chicago, Bricklink designer. I would say all 5 of those sets are really good.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely all ones I would be interested in.
Same here.
I would
Mark,
say
from a business standpoint, how does that feel this year having those major aspects of one, the Ninjago, and then two, the Bricklink Designer reveal happening at the show this year.
That's pretty exciting. And like in talking with the teams, there's always an ebb and flow to that, and I've known that from the beginning, long before I owned the company, especially after working with Legoland. There's always we're never guaranteed that, so it's always special when it happens. And it's been that this is the biggest presence Lego has had at the show since I've owned it. So it's one of those things that I certainly know that I can't expect every year. But like when they're trying to prove to their teams that that AFOL conventions are valid and strong, like activation points for their brands, and they decide to start with Brickworld because they're told that's the one to start with, that feels good, and it makes me feel happy that we have it set up the way it is to feel like a more organic show, to feel like it's run by AFOLs, because to me that's just saying that's like the show that is run by AFOLs, that has that sort of like that friendly atmosphere, that like open, organic, the hall's open 24/7, people are just here to enjoy. I think that fits in really well with, and that might be one of the reasons it was asked to be the example for how to start those activations. 'Cause I don't know if you noticed, Ninjago did a lot with the public, with having giveaways for them, with going through the little Ninjago stations.
Academy.
Yeah, there we go. With the yoga, the calm, the whatever. I can't remember what they all were, but it was really good engagement with them. The fans really liked it. The public really liked it. I'd love to see. They're welcome to use Brickworld as a guinea pig for new marketing strategies whenever they want, because I think that went really great from my perspective. Before we get to the next segment, I do have to use the bathroom again. So
all right, you do that.
I'll just remove myself, and you decide if you want to play a song.
Yeah, we got a few other things to talk about here. Nick and Brick says they may release some famous science figs with the university set. That would be cool. Let's see here. General Tron Briggs thinks maybe that piece would be good for dense jungle foliage if done right. MG says, hitting rewind, Mark, did you say that you have a collab idea for the Tainted? Yes, we'll get to that, but we're not there yet. A couple other things that happened at Brickworld while we're waiting for Mark to come back before we get to a little bit of funness that we are about to talk to, the missing mock cards, which is this collaborative thing that we're going to talk about here. A couple other cool things that happened. My very first Brickworld was 2012. Then I took a couple years off because my son was born, first day of Brickworld 2013. And when he turned 1, I didn't come back as well. But that very first year, it was right after Monster Hunters had come out. And we haven't really had a thievery problem at Brickworld. There's always some risk of that, but even with the hall open all the time, security does a great job. People look out for each other. Seems to always be AFOLs in the hall. So it typically isn't a large problem. In 2012, though, I did have, after Monster Hunters come out, I had a werewolf stolen off of my display. And that year, the person who was running our collaborative was Stosh, Adam Stosh. And so he actually brought me that Monster Fighter set that had the werewolf this year as a replacement. So he gave it to me right outside the garage sale. I don't know what that set sells for anymore, but he replaced my werewolf for me only 13 years later.
I love that.
So
Stosh is a great guy.
Never.
Yeah,
right? Exactly.
No,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard the news or not, but one of the things also that Lego House and the Ninjago team did was the sponsor kit for Make-A-Wish that we had this year. They actually provided him several sets, and one of those sets was the new Ninjago ship that won't be released until August.
Yes.
They presented him with an early copy of it, so he's able to build it months before it's even going to be available. So
that's awesome. I love that they did that.
Yeah, and August is looking like a hot release month. There's a lot of cool things coming out in August. So it's sort of our next big release where we'll definitely be doing, some special presentations on all the craziness that's coming out then. All right, Mark, MG asked, so this kind of dovetails nicely with our next segment.
Yeah. So
which is called Missing Mock Cards.
So I'm going to ask for your help with this, Ben. Explain to them the story of the goat boat.
The good old goat boat. So one year, Mark brought a couple of mocks, but one of the ones he never got around to bringing was one titled the goat boat. And so he had the mock card there, and I do the same thing. Sometimes I'll get mock cards for things that I hope to bring that don't quite pan out in time. Hence the reason I put Dragon ? On one of my mock cards this year. But when Mark brought that, I built on site a little tiny goat boat to display with his card. And we did more than that the next year. We actually had a mini side collab where several of us built goat boats, and they had nothing to do with Mark's original vision at all. I built a pirate ship with a goat on the front. Our friend Pete built a giant tugboat that was called the goat boat.
I finished my goat boat and brought it. Yeah.
And Mark finished his goat boat and added it. We felt a little betrayed by the fact that Lego then released a Lego set titled Goat Boat after we had done this. So we felt a little bit like they were trying to, crowd in on our territory. But that sort of sparked a bit of imagination for what we were talking about, which is if you have a mock card that you didn't use, could you give this to somebody else to build the mock, not knowing what your idea is or anything else, just the name? How would that go? How would that work?
All right, I'll take a look after this. I will take a look for this after this segment, Alphonse.
So Mark, elaborate on kind of the idea there.
So, and then put a pin in this. Anytime we say put a pin in this, we always forget to bring it up. But talk about Moto's lifestyle shots idea for next year. And I do believe it's something that you and I should set up, Ben. However, in the meantime, so the game is mock cards that weren't picked up, drawing a random one, and bringing that mock to our collaboration next year. Now, I did not remember to pick up all of the discarded mock cards from registration this year. So I've only got 2 in there that are actual mock cards from this year's show. So what I've decided to call this is Tainted Mad Lib Mocks. So I've made up 20 random names for this. So if you want to be part of this collaboration, go ahead and drop an I'm in into the chat, and we will live select a name of a mock for you to build and bring to the show. Now, the nice thing about this collaboration is it's not going to be on Mills plates. It's not going to be cohesive. We're just going to put our builds on the tables with our original prompt. So this is more of a prompt challenge. We got Durs Bricks in first. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and hit random.org. I got 20 ideas. And let's see, you get idea number 15.
MG is in. Phil Camus is in.
Awesome. So we're starting with Durs Bricks. And your idea is number 15 on my list, which is over. Where did I move it? Hold on. What? There it is. Idea number 15 is this. Apocalypse Bunker Battle. So if you haven't seen the stream before, you'll have to see what Apocalypse is. We might have another way to explain it. Ben, you can explain this?
I think this is a great opportunity for Durs because Durs just did the bunker, the collaboration, the Fallout. So this could be quite intimidating for the rest of us.
And it's Apocalypse on top of that,
right?
And if you don't know what Apocalypse is, here's a little idea.
A world torn apart by fire and flood. Mutated platypus rise from the mud. With venomous claws and duck-billed beaks, they protect their home from the human freaks. Through the ashes and skies of red, platypus badasses busted heads. Through the ashes and skies of red, platypus badasses busted heads. This is the dawning of the age of Apocalypse.
Mutated claws rise fierce and venomous through shattered skies and rivers of rust. In the age of apocalypse, we fight, we must. Humans beware, this land is not yours. The platypus reign in apocalypse wars.
That sounds fun. All right, so
Yeah.
next up is Joellen Child, who, by the way, won our Brickworld Spirit Award this year. Let's see, I do 1 to 19.
Love Joellen.
now. Love Joellen very much. It was her first year at Brickworld, although everybody knew her, and she's done a bunch of our expos. So, all right, Joellen's gets idea number 17. Here we go. I think she's going to have fun with this one, actually. Trolls versus otters.
Oh,
Oh man.
Nice.
I was thinking Apocalypse Bunker Battle was going to be the best one, but this one will be good too.
Absolutely. Who
gonna
is
get
next
better.
after Joellen here? We've got Philip Camus is next. All right. Here we go. Philip Camus. I'll go back and spell these correctly. Whoops. In a bit. Hold on. Gosh darn it. All right. Got to do a couple things here. Remove trolls versus otters. Reduce it down to 18. See what we come up with. Number 3. So Philip Camus will be doing, oh my gosh.
you know it's good when Mark says, "Oh my gosh."
Grandma's tactical unit. So that
There's
one's
so many
for Philip,
possibilities here.
right? MG is up next. So let's go ahead and duplicate this slide. Let's see. Who did I say? MG. And MG, out of 17 ideas, gets idea number 4. Okay. This is... Whoop. Come on, man. I'm freaking out. Quantum Beekeeper. Do-do-do. Next is Paige Pritchard. Thanks for joining us tonight, Paige. By the way, didn't get to greet you when I first saw your first comment earlier. Paige Pritchard, not colon age. Pritchard. Let's see. Hope we don't run out. Let's see. So this is 16. Idea number 10. Paige Pritchard. Paige Pritchard gets this. Paige Pritchard gets this one. Knob Village. I don't know. Have fun with that one. All right, duplicate slide. Who's after Paige? Dawn. Miss Slobricta. And Dawn gets...
She needs something challenging.
I know, right? Former Lego master. She should be able to pull off something great.
Well, no, it doesn't matter. Whatever she gets is going to be great. It's just a matter of what it is. Are we going to make her work for it?
Pirate.
Laundromat. It'll be pink too. Awesome.
Hell yes. All right, so we're down to 15. Let's see who's after Dawn. Alphonse Soup Person. Do. All right, copy this one. Duplicate slide. Let's go Alphonse. And Alphonse gets... Oh, wow. This one will be fun. You can do whatever you want with this one. Interpret it any way you choose. Lace up tunic or medieval hoodie. After Alphonse is... Wow.
That's a great one.
Got way down in here. So that was Alphonse. We got... Delana was just saying hello. Hawkeye Lego Man is next. Hawkeye Lego Man. And hold on. Delete row. Random.org. You get idea number 13 again. Yours is Troll Cave.
You could see this as a recurring theme every year.
100%.
The 20 Challenge Club.
Yes.
Table specific for these 20 builds of what you were challenged with.
Got Smoky Smokes up next. Let's get this set up down to 13.
Do you know where I met Smoky Smokes?
Where?
This year, Mark? I met Smoky Smokes while I was trying to herd the cats in the garage sale room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You did great with that too, by the way. Thank you for stepping in without Reed being available to do it.
I'm just taking over all of Reed's stuff. So
Uh,
whatever Reed used to do,
right.
just let me do it.
Alley of Curiosities for Smoky Smokes, Brick Built Labs. Duplicate slide. All right.
Alley of Curiosities. That would be a fun one. I could, yeah, I'm seeing visuals for all this stuff. This is crazy. I love it.
Idea number 10. Oh, this one's great. Brick Built Labs. I'm not sure what style you build in, but hopefully you'll have fun with this one. Definitely not sentient. Why do you ask?
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
All right, so General Tom's Bricks is after that.
Hmm.
Let's see. Duplicate
Jazzy
slide.
Viking Bricks says, what are we doing? So while Mark is working on this, what we're doing is we're taking mock cards that were abandoned or ideas from the show that people are randomly being assigned. And you're just getting the title of the mock. You're not getting us to tell you anything else. And we're going to build it for Brickworld next year. So Mark had 20 random ideas. I think, if we get more than 20 requests, we can come up with some more. Don't worry about it. But we're gonna
2026 showcase.
Runaway, railway, handcar. That sounds like something we talked about tonight.
It does.
Yeah.
All right, we're down to 9 after General Tron's Bricks. Let's see, anybody else on this? Well, I am so in for this. Durst Bricks already has one, so we just said it twice. Can't wait to see. That's awesome. Haha, love it.
Let me say, he got a
Rob
freaking
Claxton.
great one off the front end here.
Yeah, no kidding. Rob Claxton is also in. Duplicate side. Rob Claxton. And how many are left here? Hold on. There are 9 ideas. Let's see what he gets. 8. Here we go. Dragon versus Wyvern.
All right. Wyvern, do you ask about that one?
I don't know.
What if they both have 3 arms? Two legs and 1 arm. One's an amputee.
All right, who's after?
One was just born wrong.
Rob Claxton, we got.
Born different, not
back.
wrong.
I got your back, bro.
All right, Jazzy Viking Bricks didn't say I'm in, but she said count me in, so I'm going to take that as a join in the collab. Jazzy Viking Bricks. And the nice thing about this is you end up not being able to come, or you don't get yours done.
Whatever.
It just goes on the table, so we don't have to worry about it. And so if you have to back out, no big deal. So 1 out of 8.
Why did I get booted?
Right? Generate idea number 6. All right, so she gets Knights of the Wrong Table.
All right.
Wonderful.
Let's see. Anybody else in? All right. So there are 7 ideas left. Let's start with our guest. Brick Dead Builds. Are you in?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounded kind of like a commitment.
Brick
Just assume
Dead
that was a given.
Builds. All right. Out of 7, what do you get? Idea number 3. Oh, this one's just weird.
Piece out, so I can't
Apologies
hear
on this
right
one.
now. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for it.
Glorp's final form.
All righty.
All right, Ben, the guy on my left, are you in?
Yes, but can I ask a question?
Yeah, what's the question?
You actually handed me a mock card.
I did.
At the show. Can I
Yeah.
just do that one?
It's in the list.
Okay. Well, let's roll the dice and see if I get it then.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
No way, you did get it.
Yes. Can I say what it is?
Yeah.
Z-Service will be building horny and wrong.
Oh, and Jesse's in too.
All right.
Horny and wrong. We get Jesse's Brick Galaxy up here next. Jesse's Brick Galaxy. And let's see what Jesse gets. How many ideas do we have left here? I think 5. Because, yep, Horny and Wrong's out. 5 ideas. Let's see what Jesse gets. All right, Jesse gets, there we go. This is the variation of the first one. It's the elephant ship.
Wow, okay.
It's way better than the goat boat.
All right, and so one last roll for me. Out of 4 ideas, I know which one I want. So I'm going to make myself honest here. Here are the remaining... Here are the remaining 4 ideas.
Okay.
Here's random.org. So I just want to prove that I'm not going to cheat on this one because there's one I definitely want. And I'm sure you guys know which one it is out of those. Wait, are there 4 or 5 left? 4. So here are the ideas that are left. The Clown Rebellion, Bureau of Confusion, Grand Theft Moped, and Otter World. Which one do I want?
I want Otter World.
Duh. See what I get. Oh, it's so close. I get Grand Theft Moped.
That could be Otter World.
Exactly right. It's gonna be otters on mopeds. All right.
Okay, now here's a question.
Yeah.
With those of us that have already jumped in for this,
yeah.
With three remaining,
yeah.
Is there an opportunity for anyone
yeah.
to jump in for a reroll?
So we'll for a reroll? I don't know.
I was kind of thinking, people do watch on replay.
Yeah.
Anybody who's not here who watches on replay, we got 3 ideas up. If you're one of the first 3 people to say you're in coming to Brickworld 2026 in the comments, we can give you one of those 3 that are left.
100%. Next week, what I can do is add 7 ideas and say there's 10 more ideas on the table for anybody else who wants to join, because 30 builds, I'm imagining we can do these mostly as vignettes. If you want to get a little crazy, you'll just have to let me know because I'll have to make the space request for it. But what's nice about this is I imagine but Durs, what I didn't do was go to ChatGPT because I wanted to use my brain, because I think I've been using ChatGPT a little bit too much. You're all good. Everyone's good. No one needs to apologize. Already have ideas for Troll Cave. Algoff says, wish I could, but probably won't be there. Sorry. We'll get you in on one of these years. So we'll stay in touch on Discord. Yes, absolutely. If you have not joined our Discord, I will go ahead and
a thread for that.
100%.
Yeah, and I can learn how to use it. I've got like 5 teachers, so someone's going to teach me how to do it.
Vignetted taint.
And I was going to go ahead and start one of those right now, but I'll find a way from David that I can get just the collaborative in there. That way we can make sure we don't get a bunch of people come. We don't want too many people in, of course. It might get a little out of control, but hey, maybe I'll change my mind on that. So I'm just going to go ahead and drop our Discord invite into the chat if you're able to join and talk to us there. If not, we'll be talking about it on the stream as well, because as we found out in the chat tonight, not everybody likes Discord. So
if it's not likes or it's just too old. And it's funny because I built a space-based computer Lego mock, and yet I don't have any idea how to use Discord, for Pete's sake. Like, I'm not computer illiterate.
That's your homework. Start a server for us.
Oh, thanks.
There's Brick says, awesome, I'm in the Discord already. Perfect. The tainted skyscraper. Yeah, we could just build these on top of each other. It's such great heights. We could come up with, oh God. We came up with a standard for them to stack on top of each other. We could build it as a skyscraper, but I don't know about that. We'll see. Not a bad idea. Some of these aren't necessarily skyscraper friendly. Let's see if I missed anything in there. There could be nice pirates, right? Yeah, of course. They're not all bad. Low key, I would hang out at Space Pirate Laundromat. All right, awesome. Glad you guys are into this. The doors are idiots. As the Knob Village, that's what I thought of. And I'm like, it's going to be a place where a bunch of knobs live.
There's lots of things that could mean.
It's up to your interpretation. So
Yes.
Knob houses, doorknob houses with
Houses
all the idiots.
One of our favorite inside jokes in the family, we have an aunt who's into antiques. And like we were sitting at Easter, we had Easter at her house one year. Everybody's sitting on top of everyone's sitting on the staircase, kind of having a conversation. And she's gone a little overboard with all the antique stuff that she does, all the antiquing. So I walk up to them and I've got a bowl full of doorknobs. And I'm like, doorknob, anybody? Because she had so many antique doorknobs, she just put them in a bowl as a decoration. So, it could be any sort of knob that you like. That where's VMAC when you need them, right?
Yeah.
The Crimson Permanent Assurance Accountancy Pipe. Okay. Alrighty. He's heading out. Thanks for joining us tonight. Appreciate you a lot. Looking forward to you starting the battle bunker as well. I don't know what you're going to use for Apocalypse.
It's like the
characters.
Best. That's like the best one, man.
I know.
That's
It's the first one
to get. Yeah.
Scrooge.
Oh, sweet. It is Such Great Heights. Yes, that is the theme for 2026.
Yeah. So we talked about this very briefly, and I said we would kind of talk about it as we went on.
Yeah.
That's the other thing that we wanted to talk about a little bit was community and theming for future Brick Worlds.
Let's pause that real quick just before, because I'll forget otherwise. Oh, and there was another thing I didn't want to forget. Here is Brick Dad Build's ideas project. Go if you want to go ahead and talk to us about this one. Brick Dad.
Yes.
I wanted to stay in line with the general idea that Lego has with their art prints. And the write-up in there gives a little history of the print itself and who created it, when it was created, and the background of the art itself, as well as my take on the art and what it meant to me. Now, what I did was I wanted to have a nice three-dimensional print to take away from the two-dimensional art that was actually created by the artist and give it a little more dynamic. So as you can see here, it's got a little depth, so it will hang on a wall, but it can also be freestanding up against a wall or on a tripod or something like that as an art print. Now, it's a reasonably small build in pieces. We're right around 2,000 pieces, even with all of the dots. So not a super complex build, but definitely something that I wanted to add to my art collection of already existing Lego prints.
Very cool. Have you been able to build this in real life yet?
That's a working on it there.
Yeah.
Like, where'd he go?
You've had a couple different iterations of this. There's been a couple of adjustments to it, and I think looking at it now, this looks like it would fit right into the Lego art prints.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I wanted to go back in and after discussing with you guys, changing the cloud format a little bit more, as well as the dots and the transition line from the dots up into the waves to give that subtle transition in color. While it doesn't necessarily mirror the art print precisely, it is a different iteration of it to represent that art piece. So
yeah,
so I appreciate you guys' support. If those of you that want to support, like, share, and get it out for the rest of the community so everybody else can see it as well and give their opinions, good or bad. I'm completely open to all feedback to it. If you see something that is necessarily difficult in the build itself or something you don't like about it, by all means, let me know. I love feedback just in builds in general. So
yeah, great work. So here it is on
and
Lego
those
Ideas.
are the tongue pieces.
Yeah. We are in on Lego Ideas. I'm going to drop this in the chat again. If you guys would like, you can drop by and give Brick Dad Build some support. So Ben, the other idea I wanted to talk to you about, Moto was talking about on Friday Night Bricks, is having you and I run a lifestyle studio at the show where we've got mismatched chairs and a obscenely thick wooden table and some bookshelves with books turned around and some balls and a dead fern that people can bring their mocks into.
Bring in your mock
and
take a lifestyle shot with it. I mean, we already did that with our mocks and we loved it. We didn't, but we we
The
Photoshop
Photoshop,
that
yeah.
in. You can get some
I
actual
would love
lifestyle
to
studio.
assist with this as well.
100%.
We
If I
need
can
you to
find any of the
find
lamps, tables,
lamps.
or chairs,
Yes.
let me know. I can find the obscure what we need. So yeah, I'm definitely in for that.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Lou's also leaving us. Thanks for joining us tonight. Hitting the hay was great seeing y'all in real life again in Chicago. Just cast a vote for Son of Man and congrats
Nice.
again, Brickworld Master Ben. Can't wait for 2026. Now, before we get to the theme, and I know that I'm a big part of this conversation, I have to use the freaking bathroom again. I'm gonna
Right.
grab another can of Zevia. I will be
That
back.
Lou.
Apologies.
Yes,
No worries.
definitely sounds good. Yeah, Lou, it was great
So-
that you were at the convention the whole time this year. I got to catch up with you a couple times. Like I said, you encouraged my daughter to come out of her shell a little bit too. That I always like seeing that because she's hilarious when she gets on a roll. She almost demanded that anyone at Brickworld who meets her calls her the rant queen, which I always love. Because I asked her if she wanted to rant this week about Daddy. Again, Dad being Brickworld Master, if she would want to rant about that, and she said yes, but she wasn't ready to do it yet. So we might get a Mara rant in a few weeks' time. So that'll be super fun. Let's see here. Don also enjoyed catching up with Lou. Let's see. Brick Dad, what is your Bricklink handle? That's not Bricklink designer. That is Lego Ideas. Do you also
Lego
have
Ideas, you
any
can find me at
BDP sets?
brick.dad.
Okay.
I don't have anything posted currently on Bricklink Designer Program. I am working on some stuff. That's
Okay.
where all of these are actually made, is in the designer program. But what I've done is I've actually taken those and moved them over to Ideas because it is an IP, which is something Bricklink Designer Program does not do. So I had to make sure it goes over there.
Yeah, so this is, I guess, Brick Dad Builds is Brick Dad Builds.
That's where you can find me. Yeah, you can find me on
There you
any
go.
social media under that right there. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, as well as Lego channels. I'm even over in Eurobricks. You'll find me there under that.
There you go. You can find him everywhere with one handle, which is always a easier way to do it.
Now, do not confuse me with the current Lego Masters contestant, Bricks.dad.
Wouldn't want to do
actually,
that.
Jamie's actually a current contestant right now with his daughter. His daughter was at the show. They're a father and daughter team on season 5 right now, competing. And he wasn't able to make it to the show this year, but his daughter did come, and she was set up with some of the other Lego Masters from season 5 this year.
Okay. So that's so yeah, you can find Brick Dads wherever you can find a Brick Dads. There he is, Brick Dad Builds. Brick Dads, we're soul brothers. I'm not wearing that Star Wars shirt today, but I have it instead again.
Really?
Got my Brickworld shirt on. Yeah, I got that one. I've got a couple of that one actually.
Now, there is a
same
book
shirt.
also.
So
Lego
wow.
Masters Australia, Henry and Cade put out the book recently. I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago. They actually put out the Brick Dad book. So, and this is actually a really cool book because it's the thrilling adventures of Brick Dad. And as you go through, it is Lego. It is
cute.
literally their adventures as fathers and dealing with things and lifestyle of just being a Lego dad.
That is cool.
So you can find this on Amazon. $5 or $6, I think. So
fun.
I got a couple. So our next topic is titled My Favorite. We're also going to talk about future themes. Maybe that'll be part of what we talk about as we go through this. But before we talk about some of the displays that were there, and I don't know, we're already at 3.5 hours, so we might have to only talk about a few and have another recap show next week because
I think you're right. Yeah.
And
that way I can finish my song.
Oh, okay. I wanted to show off a couple of the trophies that I got that were Think Outside the Blocks specific.
Nice.
So there are lots that I got, and actually I put them. Did you guys see that I put them in in the Brickworld minifig case, like as a trophy case? I put it on Instagram, but I'll show that here quick too, with my extra camera. So I know some people have various opinions about tokens, but I like mine. A lot of people put in little cute ideas and thoughts about what to do with their tokens. So I ordered the minifig 12 case, and I put my tokens inside the case back here. So that's where I am keeping mine.
Okay.
Nice little pile of them.
That's cool. Copper Valor was
like
going to
that.
say it was his adventures, and then you open to a blank page.
But I do want to show off a few of the Tatby specific ones. So of the additional ones that I got, the first one I want to show off is somebody gave me this sig fig. Maybe you guys will recognize it. Anybody know who this is?
Yeah.
There he is, right there.
Brick Dad.
So we got ourselves a Brick Dad mini. We also got this one here. There he is. Brick Dad got his sig fig. We got a Dots Pretzels one.
That's cool.
So this was put up next to our
Oh God.
sign.
Yeah, nice.
So that was really cool. And then this one, perhaps the most Tatby of them all. This was given to me by Urban Bricksville, who occasionally makes it into the chat. It is a toilet with flowers growing out of it, with a flame on top, and he gave this is his sig fig. He forgot the stick s'more marshmallow, but I got one for him.
Very nice.
So there we go. So there's the ultimate think outside the blocks token.
That is awesome.
That is.
So-
Yeah, the flaming toilet flowers s'more roast.
That is
Yes.
incredibly toppy.
So some of the best Tatby nonsense that you can get right there in one token.
100%.
So thank you to Urban Bricksville and Brick Dad and whoever delivered this Dots one who did not identify themselves. But we
I
do
heard
have
it was in a
Dots
perfect
Pretzels.
position, by the way.
It was right where you'd want to see it, next to one of our banners for Think Outside the Blocks.
Interesting.
So I wonder how Brick Dad knows where that was.
Yeah.
I don't look at me. I didn't touch it.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
No, I swear.
is. We didn't say you did.
I did it
So
first.
I got a,
but now
I got a
I
winky
believe you.
face here. I don't know.
Oh yeah, that would make sense.
Mm-hmm. So those are a few of our best tokens. So, any other favorites from the show, Mark?
Yeah, I'll go through it. We don't talk a lot about this, but the staff, it's me and Phoebe and David Turner and Ben put out little trophies with the Brickles on them that say Brickle-rific. And Ben and I both focused on youth creations, but they're creations that inspired us, creations that didn't get nominated or win trophies that we think are maybe they were too small, maybe they were tucked away, maybe they just got overlooked by all the vastness of how many great creations are there. This is the first one I put a Brickle-rific trophy on. This is the Fabuland the Fabuthank Tower, which of course spoke to me. So I dropped a Brickle-rific on this one. I also dropped a Brickle-rific on this creation, which I just I like the use of color. You can see the little Brickle-rific trophy down here in the foreground. That's what they look like. It has a little Brickworld award plaque on it and says Brickle-rific engraved underneath it. Of course, I'm going to things that are pink and purple are certainly going to speak to me. Tainted Members Superhawk made this amazing bat wing. I love that they do this. They've done this
Very
before. They did it very swooshable. There is they also did the I believe the Millennium Falcon in this style, which I very much appreciate. This young man, he's not youth. He's now over 18, but he is a younger member of Windy City Lug, and he does a lot of really great stuff. And this little build here spoke a lot to me. Put a Brickle-rific on this one. His name is Isaac Wang, I believe is his name. Tigertron Bricks on Instagram. I didn't put a Brickle-rific on this one. I was kind of saving him. I was going to go back, but Nanon's rock work always really speaks to me. So that was in the mix as I was putting these out. Let me see. I took a bunch of pictures together, so I didn't always successfully get the pictures of what I was putting on, putting the Brickle-rific ones on. Let me see. Sorry, guys. This one. which we already heard from people from their lug about. Now, this one I made a little bit of a mistake because there was a kid standing next to it for so long. I was just like, that's got to be hers. And it turned out not to be. But it was still a great creation. This one was kind of tucked away. And I thought it was a real creative use of these pieces with minimal parts, but a really fantastic design. And I thought it's one of those things that for airship isn't really going to stand out. So I want to throw a brick.
Is really nice on that. I was actually looking at that
Isn't
and
that
how
fun?
those lenses were used like that. So yeah, it was
Yes.
pretty cool. It was unique. It had a organic feel to it.
Yes, very much so. And like the way they use those Technic lift arms to create a different shape with for those wings, which I use those things all the time for structure. But when I've created airships and I've created like seafaring ships, I never really think about using those lift arms. I think that's a pretty versatile piece that can be used more. And he used it really well in a lot of the stuff. If I'm assuming the builder was a he because he was standing behind them. This was a fun one. I just thought it had a lot of great ideas and a lot of really good techniques, and just it looked like somebody who was going to be building some amazing layouts in the future. Really liked the stories between the minifigures. Really liked the tree work on it, the architectural techniques, and I just think this person has like quite a bit of potential for building even greater stuff in the future. And I noticed they didn't have any nominations, and I wanted them to feel encouraged. And yeah, this is the guy who built it, and he's snuck it on there, snuck the brickerific in as we were talking. But yeah, there he is, Alphonse's amazing model there. Let's see, who else did I give them to? I think I might have forgotten to photograph some of them, but I also was running around taking as many pictures as I could before it all ended. And I'm losing the thread here on where else I put them. Cause I had seven or eight that I put out. And I think, I missed some of the other pictures I was taking of those, but I think it's something that is important to me that they're still getting recognition from Brickworld. They might not have gotten a nomination or a trophy at the end of the day. But it's we want to encourage as many people as possible, and it's real simple for us to do so. And we're staff, so we can say whatever we want. So if we think these are great, and we want to just directly encourage these people, we can. It gives another little award that comes out officially from Brickworld. And again, we don't really advertise it because we don't want a bunch of people looking for it or feeling bad if they don't get them. We just want them to kind of sneak out there. When people ask me where it came from, I'm like, they just have minds of their own, and we can't stop them from walking out on the floor and showing people appreciation. So,
yeah,
community. There was a situation that came up for a junior builder that was very down on not receiving any tokens at one point, and the topic came up, and the consensus among some of us AFOLs we were unaware that was a junior builder based on the quality of the build, and looking at the build, and we were like, we did not know that was a junior builder. So we then took appropriate action to recognize this junior builder for the quality of that build, going, that's a good build. We didn't think that it was a junior builder. So
that's awesome. That happens a lot there too. When you see the nominees for best youth creation, you're like, that's youth.
Exactly.
And we'll talk about this probably next week, but yeah, we should bring up the Brick Nerd article to explain the entire history of the white brick. I've never received a white brick. Not that I feel like I should, but I just kind of always like, I hope I get one some year. But
I have one, and
I've got a lot of awards already.
I hope that you only get one because I want lots of people to get them.
Yeah, same.
I got one, I think maybe 2018 or so. I had a large space layout, and I got one. So it was a real honor, very mysterious as to how they come about.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Brick Nerd article has a lot of notes about that. Here,
there are never enough awards for all the awesomeness at the show every year. I agree. Alphonse says, I think there was a thing in the Discord to put a little signifier on junior mock cards. Yeah, so basically the way we know is because we don't put their last names on, but we can certainly make it more obvious. We do color print them. Don's sister got one in 2023. Alphonse says, "What is a white brick or a white brickle-rific?" No, it's definitely a white brick. It's
Two separate things.
Brickworld staff does not do it. Nobody knows who does it. And they look like the Brickworld Award. They're shaped like a brick, but when you open it up, there's a mini build inside based on what you built.
The best way to know more about it is to find someone that has already received one and hit them up for more information about it in that respect.
100%.
Mine was put on a space base that I brought, and it was a little space car, like a little missile launcher space car. So it was really cool.
Steve actually received it last year.
So lots of cool things. All right. Here is a few of the ones since it's more difficult for me to bring these up than Mark because of the whole have to email myself all this nonsense. I'll show you a couple and then we'll get a couple more later. One of the things Mark and I both agree on is that we tend to kind of walk past a lot of the Star Wars builds, not because they're not amazing, but because, it doesn't necessarily resonate with us because it's Star Wars.
And there's a lot of Star Wars there. I think that's why it happens to me. Is I'm like, oh, more Star Wars.
But here's one in particular that was from a teen builder that I thought was really well done. I really liked the foliage on this. I liked the shape of the space structure here. I don't know if it's based on an actual building or not, but it was really well done. I like the color of the landscaping as well. So this one got one of the Brickle-rifics. I also took a picture of this one because I liked it, but did not get a Brickle-rific hit. This one as well.
I know, right? It's hard to decide.
It's oftentimes hard to find sort of this style, this Ninjago meets cyberpunk thing that was very big for New Hashima. Here's a little one done by someone that I thought was really good. I'm going to pull off my screen and open up some more pics here. Like I said, annoying that I have to send them to myself.
John said hers was next to her a la mode and had a Crayola crayon build inside. Speaking of Star Wars builds, Andrew Epstein did these two creations that I thought were really good. He did some like major like UCS plus pod racers from episode 1. And I thought these were really fantastic. Here's Sebulba's pod racer right here. And then he also did this isn't a pod racer, sorry. This is a Kintan Strider's speeder bike, which is just really, really beautiful. Great techniques, very sturdy, and just a great presentation as well as to come up with the entire base for it to sit on. And just excellent techniques used. Very skilled builder. This guy, Andrew Epstein, is that what I said his name was? I don't remember. Yes, Andrew Epstein.
Okay, sending this next wave to myself, but here is one of the things I really liked this year.
Yeah, that was cute.
The claw machine. Part of this, there was a wood cabinet underneath, and maybe there wasn't, a big flashy cabinet, but the actual structure of the claw machine was great. It functioned almost perfectly. There were little buttons and a direction pad and a little button to actually pick up all the stuffed animals. Didn't get to keep the stuffies. I think the builder would have liked that, but his mom talked him out of it. But it was coin operated. You can see one of the white bricks as well on this build. But the person who was running it was extremely friendly, great with the kids. It was a lot of fun to watch him interact with everybody. So Brickle-rific went on this one.
Oh, hey, Nick Sigsby is here. I got to meet him.
Yes.
At the show as well.
We put a Brickle-rific on one of the Durand's builds. This is one of the younger Durands. I believe it's Anna Durand who did this one.
Just posted this link in the chat, by the way. It gives a lot of information about what the White Brick Award is, because we're getting a lot of questions about it right now. And I don't want to be on here forever tonight, but we'll talk more about it next week.
Yeah, I wanted to give Anna a special shout out. Her family did this grouping of characters. They're from a book series that I'm not familiar with. Doesn't matter, right? The characters here, though, were built with this sort of 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional face thing, kind of the flat 2-dimensional face. She came up with the original idea for the heads, and then everybody else in the family built along with it.
Nice.
So I wanted to make sure to recognize the fact that she was sort of the beginning inspiration for all these, and I loved the way the eyes were built on these.
Very cool.
In particular. So we did one for that, and then this one in particular. What I found out about this particular builder is he's only 9 years old.
This is the one that I mentioned that hadn't been seen.
Oh, really?
Was assumed was a elder builder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 years old, everybody. So this is the build that I gave a Brickorific to as well. Did not know that there was a token drive for him, but a very excellent build. It's one of those things, again, where just like Star Wars, a lot of the modern military stuff or World War II stuff, I'll stop and look at it, but I won't consider it as, a thing that might oftentimes be nominated for an award, because I think just a lot of people don't see it that way for some reason.
Like you and I with Star Wars. Yeah,
exactly. But very cool, looked great. A Brickorific one on that one.
A lot of story in his build. There was a lot of story in it.
And then I have one more set
and
here.
His parents said that he's very meticulous about recreating World War II. Like he's a big World War II history buff. Chicken Bark asks, when can we expect Brickworld Chicago 2026 tickets to go live? We do have the dates. Right. We do have the dates. It's June 17th through 21st next year. So save the dates. Mark it on your calendar. And last year we went live with badge sales in August. Rage Quit Gaming says almost 4 hours. The stamina on display during the stream is impressive. Thank you. That's been our average for like the last couple months. We've been going
Rage
hours.
Quit. I didn't get to say goodbye to Rage Quit this year. But
my stamina is fading.
I wouldn't have wanted to say goodbye to him because he's a jerk and nobody likes him.
Okay,
and
fair enough.
all that stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Figured.
I gave a Brickorific to this one, which was a guitar. Electric guitar built into Lego. Maybe I felt a little kindred spirit with this builder because, Lego built around electronics doesn't always seem to be like the most popular with judging. Not that it needs to be, but it was fun. The guitar worked. I liked that the pick was a minifig shield. So maybe this one was a little under-recognized as well. This was a second version. I think it was too heavy to pick up. But you could play it on the table with the way it was set.
He actually carried it in and was moving it around. So it's delicate, but not that delicate. And it is heavy, though.
I would imagine it's super heavy.
Yeah.
But I like that one. They also had this station here. Just sort of
that was
futuristic space station with little sort of mini habitats built into the ring that I really liked looking at. So that one was really cool. And then last but not least, I don't know why I was drawn to this one so much, but it was next to the Pirates of the Caribbean. I think that the ship got some recognition, but I love the logo.
It actually won.
As well.
Yeah, ship won best sea ship or best ship or whatever.
Ship.
I love the art piece here too. I love the frame was really well done as well, but it was slightly 3-dimensional. And this was more so than anything, if there was a piece of Lego art that I would actually put in my house, this would be the one. I just absolutely loved the way it looked.
Really well done.
I think those were all of them that I handed out. I took pictures of all of them, so it's not so much that I'm forgetting yours as it is I have to send them 3 at a time. To myself, or else they refuse to go over the email.
I actually do. Hey, look who's here! It's Lego Team B.
Lego Team B.
Yes, I saw them on a stream last night, and thank them for. Was that last night? Jeez, this week's been a blur. Thank them for. I got to hang out with them. Which again, this is how much smoother things are getting. How much better the show ran, and how much more well rested and mentally healthy I felt this year. I was actually able to hang out with them on Tuesday night. which in years past I never would have been able to do. I just slept through the entire week. But they came out to the house and they met Orion. And I took them over and introduced them to Cheeto as well. So they met Orion and Cheeto. And then we went to Lou Malnati's. And I was going to change from my dog park uniform to my Chicago Hounds jersey, and forgot, and actually left my jersey in their rental. And so they shipped it to me from the Renaissance. So I got the shirt in the mail, and I was like, oh, look, it's from Lego Team B. And I open it up. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. I'm like, when did they get to a Hounds game? And I was just like, wait, is this mine? I'm like, I think it is mine. I'm like, how did they get it? Like, did I leave it at the Renaissance? And I'm like, oh, it was in their car. Like, it took me forever to figure it out. Way too long to figure it out. Like, my brain has just been absolutely fried. Yeah, so there we go. So we'll go into a deeper dive on the Lego MOCs that we saw there. Yeah. I really didn't expect the stream to go 4 hours tonight.
Right. And honestly, like, all that stuff was great. I'm glad we highlighted it.
Yeah, same.
There were some insane builds from more established builders, who have been at the show a number of times. Ones that won awards that definitely deserve to win awards that we need to take a look at as well.
100%.
Those were some maybe of the underappreciated MOCs, at least in our opinion, at Brickworld this year.
100%.
So Rage Quit Gaming misses me too. Thank you, Rage Quit. Who's Chicken Bark? But don't know, but you already answered that one. So
yep, sure did.
So there we have it. Let's see.
Oh, I see. I see why I can't find them, because I took some with my camera and some with my phone. All right, I'll get that all sorted out for next week.
Yeah. So we'll have a lot of other stuff to talk about. The other thing I will say too, I've watched some of the like Brickworld all MOCs tours, and not everything that I absolutely loved were in any of those streams.
Yeah.
So, don't feel discouraged by any of that. Different people like different things. Some people are really fixated on pop culture stuff, and they'll just show you all the pop culture builds there. Some people like other stuff. So
here's what I was talking about earlier, by the way. One last one from me. This is Dave Chef 6. Whoops. Wrong thing, wrong place. Hold on. Now I lost all my screens. Here we go. His mosaic that was light reactive. He was projecting light onto it. This is the same creation with a different light, with a different quality. No, so he's just changing the shade. So it looked
just
several different ways
projected on it.
Exactly. So by the different shade of the different, why can't I think of this? I have a freaking degree in graphic design.
Yeah, just
whatever the different tint,
whatever
the
tint
different
was being projected would change.
Yeah, which was, it just blew my mind. I was sitting there trying to figure out exactly how he did it. He turned the light off, and I looked at what it looked like without light projected on it, but it was just amazing the amount of different colors that it went through. I do believe I have a video of this somewhere, and I'll talk more about that last week. But since I brought this one up earlier, it was just kind of an amazing. My mind just doesn't work this way. I don't work a lot with light. I work with color, but not in the way that the sort of creative ingenuity that Dave applied to this creation here. It's the wavelength. Thank you. But it was more than just black light. Like there was several different types of light hue, several different shades he was like projecting onto it that changed it many different ways. Love the pirate art too, Ben. Yep, that
sounds right now.
Or maybe it was maybe it was just simply as like it would fade from one color to black light and then back, and so it was just like it would change
motion into the artwork,
perhaps
because of the change of the colors.
Totally. It was just beautiful though, and like blew my mind that like people think of these things.
Yeah, those were really cool. I really liked that type of design idea, and just kind of how different it looked every time a different color would flash up on there, with what was washed out or absorbed and what wasn't.
Oh yeah, I have a picture of that too, actually. Yeah, cool.
So yeah, we'll maybe talk about some of the other crazier, more elaborate MOCs. There are a lot to get into. We didn't talk about the giant Orthanc. We didn't talk about the Zane Houston mechs. We didn't talk about any of the stuff on our Eurobricks table. Philip and Maria's build was really cool. Tim Leidy's build was really cool.
Yeah.
Got to show the finished version of Mark's Pagoda House. And
get to see the finished version of your Braving the Elements Ice Planet.
Yes, the Ice Planet PC.
That was disgusting.
Brick Dead Builds Collaborative. He ended up with the more amusement park side of the zoo. Yes. So lots of stuff to cover when we get there again. But we're at 3 hours and 53 minutes. And hey, keep them wanting more, I say. You know what we didn't even say once this stream? Probably my fault.
We'll talk about it more next week, but we're going to talk about deciding themes for the future as well. But we didn't
even talk about this, though. We didn't do this.
No, we didn't ask anybody to like and subscribe. Why didn't we do that? We've had more people watching the stream consistently throughout the entire evening. We forgot to ask any of them to like it.
Yeah. So don't forget to do this.
Last week, he didn't business tonight.
I didn't even business.
I know.
I don't have the business brain in me right now. Yeah.
We were not businessing.
Nope.
There's even one of these, and I wasn't doing it.
Good night,
no one was businessing.
I know. We didn't have any businessing tonight. We just Brickworlded it.
We just Brickworlded it.
Yeah.
Ben, would you call that a mistake?
Good question.
That's a good question. I don't think that I would call that a mistake. We were just so excited with Brickworld that we had to get into Brickworld right away. But on top of that, and I don't have it with me, somebody did give me a little Bob Ross figure that's in one of my bins that I still have to get out. But our hero Bob Ross would tell us, remember, there are no mistakes. There are only happy accidents. So says our hero Bob Ross, who I now have in minifig form thanks to a token I got at Brickworld 2025.
Yeah. Well, there we have it. So we will see you guys next week at 7 p.m. Central for our 108th episode of Think Outside the Blocks, and we'll have more Brickworld recap for you at that point. Thanks for joining us this week. Love you all. See you in 7 days.
Larry's castle stood so tall, we all sat in awe. Think Outside the Blocks gave a round of applause. Proud and inspired, Larry showed the grand hall. Physics took over, we all watched the grand fall. Bricks fail, crashing dreams to the ground. In that moment, silence was the only except for Mark screaming, no, 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 no. Troy was grabbing a beer, hey, what happened, bro?
Yes, I pulled a moto.
No, you didn't.
I did. Under the castle, so dragons live here, right?
Oh my god, yes.
Level 1 dungeons. We got kitchens. This is a double high. This is the grand hall.
No, 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 no.
Like the grand hall.
I believe everything happens for a reason, and maybe this reason is for you to rebuild it better, bigger and better.
Shut up, Troy. My castle just fell. There's only 6 weeks to go. I'm in AFOL hell.